Vatican to get the Pope's approval and see if he had any notes, but he loved it just the way it was.
The highly anticipated pornographic film, which stars Ron Jeremy as the horny see himself, Pope Benedict the 69th, will reportedly contain graphic sex scenes filmed in the Sistine Chapel, St. Peter's Square, and the Pope Mobile, among various other notable sites within the Vatican.
Well, actually, I'm just watching a cut of this amazing scene we shot last night where Pope Benedict is gangbanging a bunch of nuns in his bed, and it was great because the Pope let us use his bedroom. Tomorrow we're shooting the scene where two nuns fuck each other on St. Peter's tomb using strap-on crucifixes. I think people are really going to like this movie.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us on the radio. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. We've got some interesting news to discuss here tonight. Coming up, I don't know if this is really news, but Conan, you want to talk about the memes of OK Boomer and Karen, which is one I'm not familiar with.
It's pretty new.
So we can talk about those. Also on the way, some pretty big news in the realm of Julian Assange. Also, Donald Trump is apparently backing away from his promise to ban flavored cigarettes and flavored e-cigarettes, and that's a kind of a big deal. So we can talk about that. Plus, apparently 2 jail guards have been charged with criminal charges of falsifying records regarding the Epstein death.
Good.
So I don't know where we should start. Do you want to start with Assange or Epstein?
Because
they're both pretty
or the
big.
e-cigarettes, the flavors.
Well, the e-cigarette one was New York Times, so I have to find another story because the New York Times has just...
Let's go with Epstein.
Yeah. The New York Times locks you out if you don't pay for their service.
So these 2 guards who were asleep, or they weren't even on the floor at the time, or they decided to go have lunch? What was the deal?
I don't know. It's a good question. The story here is coming out of the Daily Mail in the UK. 2 correctional officers responsible for guarding Jeffrey Epstein in his New York cell the night he killed himself have pled not guilty to charges that they falsified records to cover up their failure to check on him. Tova Noel and Michael Thomas appeared in a Manhattan court Tuesday afternoon, where they were arraigned on charges of falsifying records and conspiracy in relation to Epstein's death. Noel and Thomas, who had both self-surrendered to the FBI earlier in the day, were supported by about a dozen correctional officers in the courtroom. 2 officers released on a $100,000 bond in order to surrender their firearms and travel documents. How does a correctional officer manage to cough up $100,000 bond? That's kind of weird.
Maybe they make really good money.
Yeah, I suppose so. In an orchestrated plan, their fellow officers formed a protective blockade to help shield them from photographers.
Oh, the thin blue line.
As they were released and left the court. Around a dozen correctional officers who turned up in support of their 2 colleagues formed that protective blockade around the accused and covered their heads while shepherding them into waiting cars. And of course, in federal court, you don't actually get to bring a camera in there. So if these guys were successful at protecting them from outside photographers, nobody got their photo.
Right. Who knows who they are?
Well, their names are here, but that's it. They're accused of falling asleep and surfing the internet instead of checking on the millionaire pedophile in his cell just 15 feet away from them at the Metropolitan Correctional Center on August 10th.
The guy who just committed or tried to commit suicide like the week
2 weeks or a week
the
earlier,
week before.
Yeah. Although
no worries about this guy.
After they discovered Epstein dead in his cell, Noel and Thomas allegedly told a supervisor they'd messed up and, quote, didn't do any checks, unquote, in the hours before he killed himself. According to the story, Noel's attorney told reporters ahead of the court appearance his client, quote, shouldn't be here, unquote. Foy took issue with, that's the attorney, with the judge's orders that the officers had to surrender their firearms, arguing his client had no history of violence, The crimes she's accused of are nonviolent and, quote, the world is crazy, unquote. They were ordered not to have any contact with each other ahead of their next court appearance, and they appeared in court after it was revealed the FBI is looking into the potential that there was, quote, criminal enterprise, unquote, involved in his death.
He didn't do it.
He didn't kill himself.
No, it's just silly to think so.
So who did have Epstein killed? Was it the government itself? Or was it people who are, maybe associated with the government, maybe some individuals within
If you
the
know the truth that it's rich men and women who actually own and control the government, then I guess you could say it's both. It's your richers out there, your elitists, your 1%, whatever you want to call them, these power mongers who are only out there to gain more and more power, and that is through control of their fellow human beings. And of course, they, are the ones who, had the money to control government. Unlike, and it is not a democracy like so many in this country think. I think it's both.
So, do you think somebody came to these guards and said, "All right, well, look, just forget about the, going on your rounds during the hours of X to Y." And
here's a big fat envelope.
You'll be fine.
Here's a big fat envelope. Put it in your pocket and walk away.
Maybe that's how they came up with $100,000 bail.
Or if you want the same thing that's going to happen to Epstein to happen to you and your family members, you better play ball.
So they gave him an offer they couldn't refuse.
This is straight up mobster stuff right here. And you watch, they're going to portray this same incident in an upcoming movie. Back when movies start to not suck anymore, so it might be in the next 20 years, or they're going to actually dramatize the whole Epstein case and turn it into a 2-hour film.
You think that whoever it is that put up the money is also paying for their attorney?
Probably.
Yeah. So they might have been told, look, if you get strung up on charges because of this, we'll pay for your bail, we'll pay for the attorney,
and then when you commit suicide in jail. And it's not really you, it's just some bums that we picked up. We'll have you'll be off in another state.
Oh, they're not going to do that much of a favor for these guards.
I don't know. Who knows?
They, according to the indictment, sat at their desks, browsed online, and moved about the common area for a substantial portion of their shift instead of completing their required checks. Now, there's also the chance that this is just the way things go. That these bureaucrats are lazy and that they frequently are just sitting there browsing online and not running the checks that they have to run. Maybe they only run...
Especially third shift.
Yeah. And
it's completely believable.
Yeah, this was in the middle of the night. The 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. rounds they did not complete. So, if they have to make 2 rounds, or if they have to make 1 round every hour or 1 round every 2 hours, instead they only make 1 per shift, who's really going to know? Because most of the time they're not being investigated for it. Most of the time, they're just, they're just there working, and all the other guards are just as shiftless and lazy as they are. So nobody's checking on them, and they're not checking on their wards.
Yeah, and accept that this, when you consider the caliber of this prisoner, who we're actually talking about, and that he tried to commit suicide a week before, 2 weeks before, so they knew there was something up. The fact that the whole institution didn't ramp up surveillance of this character is suspect in my book.
They, according to this, again, the indictment allegedly appeared to be asleep at their desks for about 2 hours. What are the odds both of them would have fallen asleep during that time frame? Noelle used her computer to search for furniture sales and benefit websites during her shift. Thomas allegedly searched online for motorcycle sales and sports news briefly at 1 a.m., 4 a.m., and 6 a.m. The pair were only 15 feet away from Epstein when he died. And, of course, if I recall correctly, didn't 2 cameras fail nearby his cell? They found him dead when they went to serve him breakfast at 6:30 in the morning. The last time they'd checked on him was 10:30 the night before. Noelle allegedly told a supervisor that, quote, "We didn't complete the 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. rounds." Thomas added, "We messed up, and I messed up. She's not to blame. We didn't do any rounds." he said. They were assigned to the special housing unit at the federal jail. They're accused of failing to check on him every hour as required and of fabricating log entries to claim that they had. But really, what kind of a charge is this anyway? A fabricated log entry? What is that at worst? A lightweight misdemeanor or something like that? It's not going to be it's not perjury. They're not swearing under oath that they did those things, are they? So, even if they end up being found guilty in this case, their worst case situation is they're going to lose their jobs, maybe spend a little bit of time behind bars, maybe. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. All the while, if they got paid off, they're pocketing some pretty big money. More coming up.
Anarchapulco is the world's foremost conference for voluntarists, thinkers, and activists, held in beautiful Acapulco, Mexico. Share ideas on how to live free and escape the clutches of the state. Their unparalleled lineup of speakers will discuss entrepreneurship, investments, politics, philosophy, health, sustainability, lifestyles, and personal relationships. Stay in a world-class resort and enjoy the sun and beaches. February the 13th through the 16th, visit anarchapulco.com for early bird pricing and 10% off with coupon code FTL.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
She's such a beautiful little puppy. We walk around the block and neighbors always say, her hair is so beautiful.
Healthy and shiny and glossy. DINOVITE.com.
Fatty acids, omega-3s, and omega-6s are great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
I would really recommend people starting their puppies on Dynavite before they get into what I would call the misery index. Bad skin, bad ears, bad breath.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the allergies,
grass, pollen, dust, dirt, fleas, ticks, you name it,
and the itching and shedding down the road.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
Dynavite for life.
This is Ed Lukasevic.
And Cindy Lukasevic.
Inviting you and your pets to Dynavite.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us if you want to talk about Epstein. Did he kill himself? Things look pretty suspicious when it comes to what the jail guards were up to. Or were the jail guards just doing what they normally do, which is to say, shirking their duties and just chilling out at their desks, surfing the internet?
Or is he just on a beach somewhere with his girlfriend, chilling?
So you believe that there was like some
with
sort
a
of
new face,
some kind of bum or whatever that looked like him that they put in there?
I mean, it's quite plausible. I mean, there's, throughout history,
I don't know,
history, important, powerful men have had body doubles, not just dead bums, but actually living, breathing body doubles who.
And then what? They paid off the medical examiner, said, "Hey, look, don't compare his dental records or his fingerprints or anything like that."
Or maybe he got cremated 24 hours later before the guy could actually do a thorough investigation.
Maybe in advance, if he was, he's a pretty wealthy guy. Maybe he has somehow had his dental records and all that stuff forged so that they matched the body double.
There you go.
Could be.
maybe he needed new teeth anyway, so he's just like, all right, just pull all mine out and give me new ones. I can afford it. Or maybe he's into the whole. He's kind of a eugenist kind of a guy. Maybe he actually has a clone.
Could be. Toll-free number if you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE. Also, I want to make sure you know about the Edge wallet, the best cryptocurrency wallet, in my opinion. That's the one that I use more than any other, and that was true before they became a sponsor here on Free Talk Live. I just used it tonight, actually, to pay for my dinner over at the local Indian restaurant here in town. You can go to edge.app, and you can download the Edge wallet, learn more about it there, or just go straight to the iOS or Android App Store and download Edge wallet. It allows you to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold cryptocurrencies. It is user-controlled, meaning that you own your money, and it has support for a couple dozen cryptos like Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, various Ethereum tokens, Monero, Ripple, Stellar, Dash, and, of course, the original Bitcoin, and more. Over at Edge Wallet, you can secure your freedom. Edge.app is their website, or like I said, just go download it from your Apple or Google app stores. As we continue here with more on the two jail guards who've been charged criminally now for falsifying records. And I suspect that, while I don't doubt that they could have been paid off, and it certainly is suspicious that they were able to front $100,000 for bail money in this case. Like, your typical jail guard isn't making that much money.
Yeah, this is straight union. If it is legit.
You think the union covered it for him?
Sure.
Okay, could be.
I mean, it happens all the time with teachers and police all the time. They'll front the lawyer and the bail money and to take care of their own, take care of their brethren.
So, again, they were found to have been just surfing the web, sleeping. Pretty much that's all they were doing during their shift, surfing the web or sleeping, and they didn't even do a single check during their shift until the very end at 6 in the morning, roughly, or 6:30, when they finally discovered Epstein was dead. According to the Daily Mail story, which I'm not going to read the whole thing, they're summing up the case, summing up what happened. They did rule, the city medical examiner did rule his death a suicide. However, Epstein's brother and the attorneys who represented him in the criminal case expressed doubts about the medical examiner's conclusion. The autopsy report found Epstein's neck had been broken in several places, including the hyoid bone located near the Adam's apple. Forensic experts say breakages like that could occur when people hung themselves, but were more commonly seen in victims who had been strangled. A source close to Epstein told the Daily Mail that he had appeared to be in good spirits the day before his suicide. His brother Mark recently said he couldn't think of a single reason why Epstein would have taken his own life.
Yeah, I think it's been talked about before. Epstein was not the kind of guy who would kill himself. He's too much of an ego, too full of himself, too
Even if he was facing dozens of years behind bars,
even considering the lifetime in prison, if that's even where it would have gone.
And even if that's true, right? Wouldn't it be a little while? Wouldn't you? Maybe are you gonna just off yourself right away?
Yeah, wouldn't you want to go through the trial first?
Yeah,
it's a good point. Of course, during the trial, evidence would be introduced, and there would be testimony, and so. Therefore, if he was going to be killed by someone, getting him out of the way before the trial makes a lot more sense than killing him later on.
Right.
You don't want Epstein taking the stand. You don't want the victims coming in and having to introduce whatever evidence they have to introduce, because now none of that gets to happen. Nope. There's not a trial in absentia after the guy's dead. They're not going to go through the cost of putting that on. So, I mean, I think that there's a strong argument here that Epstein didn't, in fact, kill himself. I think that the conspiracy theorists are probably, they're probably right about this. On the other hand, it is also plausible that the guards are just this lazy all the time.
And they're just fall guys. They're the lowest on the totem pole, and someone's got to take the blame. And who better than the guards, who they probably, if someone knew to go after Epstein and take him out, they probably knew the schedule of these guards and what their third shift routine was like and what they can get away with.
Dr. Michael Baden, forensics pathologist hired by Epstein's family to observe the autopsy, has claimed the injuries were more consistent with homicide by strangulation than suicide. He says he has not seen the same fractures in a suicidal hanging case in 50 years.
Yeah, and the thing about self-strangulation, self-suicide like this, you don't end up breaking your neck at all. You just strangle yourself, and you pass out, and then you die.
Yeah,
3 minutes later. You don't, and because he couldn't jump off of something to actually get the neck breaking that you would through the typical hanging.
The motion that you would need, the force that you would need to snap a bone or something.
Correct.
Like that,
yeah,
right?
And they used to do it wrong, and you could pop someone's head right off if you do it. If they jump high enough. But he didn't have that option.
No,
he couldn't have broken his neck. I just don't see a human being able to do that. It's the same thing. Yeah, it is so implausible. This idea that he had any broken bones in his neck is you have to just scratch your head and wonder.
Well, right,
and they have to fall like at least 6 feet from the gallows, or was it 8 or something? I mean, to
snap a neck. You mean?
Yeah, it's a pretty good distance before the weight is enough.
Mark, who has been in prison, and so he knows a thing or two about prison suicides. He was there for like 8 or 9 years in Florida. He said that there has been, instances of prisoners like tying a bed sheet to the bed itself and then kind of using their body weight to hang themselves. But that can't be an easy thing to do. You would really have to have the serious intention, because you do want to stay alive. There's sort of like a natural instinct to preserve your own life, and so that's the reason why you see people hanging themselves from something that's high up and then kicking a chair out from under them.
They can't get out of it.
So they can't undo it. So they can't have that last minute, oh my God, I want to undo this and step back up on the chair. And then, So in this case, if he did kill himself, he wouldn't have had the distance to where he could have set himself up in a way that he couldn't get out of it. He would always be able to get out of it. So it would require a tremendous amount of effort.
And like I said, he was not the kind of guy who would do something like this. He wouldn't give up like that.
The toll-free number, he certainly had plenty of money for attorneys. I mean, and who knows how that trial would have gone. He may not have ended up being found guilty of a lot of this stuff. More coming up here in moments. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can bring up what you want. This is Free Talk Live.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app, and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
You love Bitcoin. It's the future, right? Well, no, not if everyone stops using it. I mean, think about it. How many places in your town take Bitcoin? 1? None? Let's be real. If this Bitcoin thing is ever going to happen, it's going to need your help. The good news is, the guys at AnyPay have your back. We built a website called helpmetakebitcoin.com. And it's a place you can send any business. And they'll be set up to take Bitcoin in 5 minutes. helpmetakebitcoin.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it.
Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free to join us on the radio. The number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about people who've been in jail and, well, in the case of Epstein, he was in jail when he died. But still to come, we've also got an update on Julian Assange, who is currently in jail in the UK, awaiting potential extradition to the United States. There's, I don't know if you want to call it good news, but kind of good news in that case.
Now, in his situation, we're talking about someone who would commit suicide. I am fearful that he could actually do it. But because of what he's experienced for so many years, I mean, just downtrodden, just out of his mind, solitary confinement almost for so many years. I mean, that's where the human brain could break. But Epstein, after like 2 months, not even 2 months, and he just gave up like that? Bullcrap.
Well, look, as far as Assange is concerned, he was in the Ecuadorian embassy, but it wasn't solitary confinement in there. I mean, he had contact with the Ecuadorians that were in the embassy. Pamela Anderson, of course, came to visit him on more than one occasion. He had media come and visit him there, so it was definitely not solitary confinement. But he has been likely in solitary since he was picked up by the British goons earlier this year. I think it was in April of this year when that happened. So we can talk about all that stuff. Your calls and thoughts are certainly welcome if you want to join us. And I want to make sure you know about local.bitcoin.com. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use local.bitcoin.com. It's a website that allows you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods, and it's global. And it works very well. Local.bitcoin.com. I'm on there pretty much every day. local.bitcoin.com. As we continue here, just kind of going over some of the rough details of what happened with Jeffrey Epstein allegedly, where his own brother hired an independent observer to go and observe the autopsy, and they determined, the independent observer, that this was likely not a hanging that caused Epstein's death, that it was likely strangulation, which of course does lead to the question of, well, if it was a strangulation, then who done it? Who was it that went into his cell? Now, I know they said that at one point he had a cellmate, so it has never been clear. I have not taken the time to look close enough to say, did he also have that cellmate on the night that he died? What happened to the cellmate?
Exactly, and I read a quote here somewhere that said that they were hesitant to give him a cellmate, but they wished they had on the night that it had happened. Otherwise, this might not have happened.
Do they wish that they had really? Do they actually wish that?
No, I mean,
I'm thinking that they don't really care. Yeah, who's they?
The lizard people, of course.
The independent doctor, Dr. Michael Baden, said he hadn't seen the same fractures in a suicidal hanging case in 50 years. Previously said authorities could help clear things up by being more transparent about their findings with Epstein's death, which of course ended the possibility of having a trial, as we discussed previously. Even with his death, federal prosecutors have continued to investigate allegations against Epstein. The Justice Department has vowed to aggressively investigate and bring charges against anyone who may have helped him. Of course, they have not yet done that. So I wouldn't get my hopes up for that ever happening. If you want to join us, you can. You can bring up whatever you like here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. I don't know if I buy the conspiracy theory that it wasn't even Epstein who was in the cell. That's getting pretty far down the rabbit hole. But I think
did you get to see the body? Did you get to stand over and say, "Hey, yeah,
that is ostensibly his own brother did hire a man who was observing the autopsy." So I mean,
and his brother isn't on all this as well.
Maybe it was the real Epstein in the cell, but then the Mandela effect took over.
No.
It was a different Epstein after we switched universes.
No, it was in fact the real Epstein. But it was his husk. Because his lizard interior had already slithered out and taken over another body.
Right.
So yeah, we can talk more about that. If you've got a comment, something we haven't heard before, or whatever, you can join us. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Conan, are we missing anything else on this Epstein story?
He didn't do it.
Okay. I think you're probably right. I don't think that he likely killed himself. It seems to me that somebody probably did. But then again, how did they get in the cell? They did?
They just walked right in.
Uh-huh.
And these,
was it the guards?
These two guards they're on the dole.
Who did the deed though? Because I mean, look, they said that there were two cameras that weren't operating.
Mm-hmm. They helped. They turned the cameras off.
There's got to be.
And he just sat back and they pulled up some what was the advertisements on the internet to prove that they were doing something else, so they had an alibi.
Yeah, okay, but what about the cameras that weren't broken? I mean, if there's two cameras near the cell that are out, that's awfully convenient. But how did the killer get into the facility? Or was it somebody who was already in the facility? How did they avoid this guy getting on the cameras, walking toward the cell, whoever the killer was? I don't know. I mean, we don't have enough information.
That's the biggest part of the conspiracy, because it sounds pretty conspiratorial that the administration, had some input in turning the cameras off.
Hey, maybe they pulled a Mission Impossible and it came in through the air ducts.
They're just dropping down with harnesses.
Yeah.
I don't think it really works like that in real life, Conan.
Suction cups on the glass.
Not in the cell, but outside of the cell.
I know. I don't think it really works like that.
Have you ever been in a duct?
No. Have you?
Andy Dufresne.
Yes, I used to run cable.
Really?
Did Epstein have any posters in his cell like Andy Dufresne did?
Who's that?
Green Mile.
Oh, okay.
No, I never ran cable in a prison cell, but
a rock hammer, right, to dig miles, and it was based on a true story.
So what you're saying, if they go back to this cell where Epstein was being held and they just look behind the damn poster,
right,
they would see
They'll find how the people got in. They just came in through the poster.
Yep. And it ends at a sewer pipe somewhere a mile away.
I mean, presumably there's a ton of cameras in this facility. There's, 2 cameras is only going to cover a relatively small area. I'm guessing, right? I mean, there must be more than a dozen cameras on this one level.
I mean, if
right?
only we could just get the body cam footage off of the officer that choked him to death.
Well, that presumes it was an officer and not another inmate. Could have been another inmate. Because getting into the facility, if it was somebody who doesn't always work there, that's going to be that's going to set off a red flag. Because there's going to be a list. There's going to be, video from the front of the facility watching who's coming in. And though that person came in, at this time, they don't work there. So it's either somebody who worked there or it was one of the inmates. So if you want to share your comments, you're welcome
Mr.
to.
Epstein, this is NewYorkTimes.com's report. Mr. Epstein was placed on a 24-hour suicide watch in a hospital wing until July 30th. He was subsequently required to have a cellmate and was assigned to the cell closest to the correction officer's desk in the special housing unit. But on August 9th, the day before Epstein was found dead, his cellmate was transferred out in a routine, prearranged transfer, the indictment said. So I would want to hear more about that.
Yeah.
Who was the cellmate? Why was he transferred?
The cellie was, according to TVP Steven in our D-Live chat, an ex-cop who's on death row for killing 4 people in a drug deal. So his cellmate was an alleged murderer. I remember seeing that in the news previously. But again, he was transferred out the day before. To where was he transferred? Was he transferred next door? Was he transferred down the hall? Where did this guy end up? There's just not enough information for those of us who are on the outside to really be able to
For us little guys.
Right.
We don't need to know. Go back to sleep, slave.
Yeah.
Go back and watch your Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, and how hard is the FBI actually investigating this? Probably not as hard as they would like you to believe. Like, they've brought a couple guards up on some petty charges.
That probably won't be anything but a slap on the wrist.
If they get convicted.
They'll probably keep their jobs. Even if
There's a chance.
Even if they are, found guilty.
Even if they lose their jobs, if indeed this is a conspiracy, they've been paid.
And they'll probably be hired by some other institution down the road.
That's true. Most of the time when cops get fired, they are not blacklisted, so they can go and get jobs elsewhere. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. They may not be able to work for the Federal Prison Bureau because this is a federal prison that he was being held in, but there are plenty more jails around New York, that's for sure. 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Coming up, Julian Assange. He's not in a good place, but there's a little bit of good news coming up.
Complement your health with hemp-derived cannabinoid oil. We've always believed that the closer to Earth, the better it is for our bodies. Our hemp-derived cannabinoid oil is phytocannabinoid rich, full spectrum, and organically grown. Finally, hemp made easy, clean, and effective. GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203. That's right, we cut through the red tape. It's now available at GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203.
We can all agree these are troubled times, right? So do you know who's on your wireless network? Whether it's a big company selling your data or a foreign hacker, if you're not protected, everybody sees your information. That's why you need Flash Routers, a custom Wi-Fi router created for privacy. Flash Routers uses a virtual private network, or VPN, to protect your online activity from hackers, trackers, and large corporations. And not just one, but all your devices with one out-of-the-box setup. Plus, Flash Routers also enhances your wireless network performance and unlocks powerful router management tools to let you take total control of your network. Call or click Flash Routers today at 1-866-509-5817 or FLASHROUTERS.com. That's 1-866-509-5817 or FlashRouters.com. Protect your wireless home network today with Flash Routers.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. The number is 855-450-FREE. Whether you want to talk about Epstein or Assange or whatever you want to discuss, you can do that. The toll-free number, again, 855-450-FREE. If we get a chance, Johnson's got a story about Democrats versus Republicans and their mutual hatred. That's on the way if we get the chance. Your calls and thoughts come first, so we go to the phones. But first, I do want to say thanks to D. Harvey, who is a Free Talk Live Silver Amplifier. D. Harvey contributes $5 a month to the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. And it's a simple concept. You like what we do here. You want to help us out. You want to help us get on more radio stations to bring more people to the ideas of freedom. Then please join the AMP program like D. Harvey over at amp.freetalklive.com. Really makes a difference for us because it helps us advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live. That's what AMP stands for. And you get some cool perks as well, like access to the supporters chat rooms on our Discord. We've also got an AMP-only Facebook group and some other benefits over at amp.freetalklive.com. You can get the list of them there and get signed up with a credit card or PayPal or even Bitcoin BTC at ampamp.freetalklive.com. Let's go to Gene, the Christian anarchist. He's calling us on the Discord server. Hello, Gene.
Hey, I wanted to update you guys on Hong Kong and give you a reason why we should care.
All right.
The Senate, of course, just passed a bill to support human rights in Hong Kong, which was a good thing. I guess, you know, if the Goonerman Goon Squad's going to do something, at least this would be something worthwhile.
So that's just it's just a resolution, though. It's just them saying,
yeah,
we support human rights, even though it's not actually true. They don't support human rights.
Well, they're actually talking about sanctions
against China
on Chinese officials. I don't know how you do that. I don't know what that would involve, but
I presume that would mean that they couldn't travel to the United States.
That would be one. Yeah, no hookers and blow from us. You know, you can't come to our parties any longer. You can't go.
Yeah. So anyway, what's happened is they did. Am I on?
You're here. We got you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I thought. Okay, so my phone made a funny noise. Anyway, today or within the last 24 hours, they've rounded up most of the student protesters. They're going to all be facing about 10 years or more.
Oh boy.
I'm sure there are some that managed to escape. I saw some escape on a motorcycle, which was pretty interesting getaway. But today, the people of Hong Kong came out in support of the protesters. So what happened is, they imagine a 4-lane road running through the middle of Hong Kong with big buildings on either side, and people for 3/4 of a mile all the way down both sides of the road holding hands in support, in a demonstration supporting the protesters. So this is an instance where the protesters have the support of the majority of the people. Most of the people support these kids, and a lot of them, the kids are their own kids,
Sure.
So they're parents now whose hearts are broken because their children are facing possible 10 years in prison. And
how many arrests are we talking about here? I mean, because there was a fairly strong opposition, a lot of protesters. Is it just the people who are occupying the university? Because we had talked last week.
Over the course of the last 2 weeks or 2 months, I guess there's probably been a couple thousand arrested.
Wow.
So there's a lot of people.
They're going to need a gulag for that. They're going to have to put them in one of their camps.
Or they'll be the first on the list to have their organs harvested for donors.
Well, that's why these protesters as they've been getting captured, have been screaming, "I will not commit suicide."
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's true. They have a lot of gulags, so they've got plenty of room for them. But here's why we should matter and why we should care. And people will remember the NBA and what happened there, where one of the managers said, they support the right of the people of Hong Kong, and the Beijing had a cow over that. Now, when I talk about Beijing, I'm specifically talking about the Communist Party of China.
Mm-hmm.
So Beijing had a cow over that and said, how dare you say something about anything that has to do with our internal affairs, and if you don't take it back, we're not going to let NBA play here, blah, blah, blah. And so they use their economic pressure to cause the end of free speech in other countries where you have free speech. So it's something that we need to address, and it's something that needs to be addressed sooner rather than later, because Beijing is not going to get better.
Nope.
They only get worse. They go from bad to worse. And in the last 20 years, I've seen the Communist Party of China get very powerful. And they used to not be powerful. 20 years ago or so, most of the people in China would laugh at the Communist Party. They didn't want to be a part of it. If I was in a taxi cab somewhere in China and my wife would translate things to the taxi driver, and he was just complaining up and down about how the government's messing everybody over and yada, yada, yada. But you don't see that anymore in China. You go to China, everybody's towing the line. Everybody's watching
what
their
changed?
mouth.
Was it the fact that they got more economic freedom and were able to make more money, so the Communist Party made more money and they're more powerful because of that? What changed?
Or maybe the people don't want to mess their credit score up.
Yeah.
I will tell you what changed. What changed is the internet. The internet is connected to everyone in China through WeChat.
Mm-hmm.
And through WeChat, which is a government-censored app, it's like Twitter, only it's government-censored. You can't say anything on there without the government goons knowing exactly what you said.
Sure.
And they will come after you. So, and not only will they come after you, but now through this social pressure, using the social credit system, all of your friends will come after you. So if you say something that's not correct, your friends are going to whack you first.
They snitch on you, because if they're found to have not snitched, then they themselves are going to be responsible, right?
Either they'll lose points for not telling, and they'll probably gain points for telling.
Sure.
So this is why we need to stop it sooner rather than later. If we allow them to continue to influence the movies and the entertainment industry and the newspapers, and they've got their little fingers in all of this stuff. If you
even video games, we talked recently about a company called Blizzard that banned one of the players from their tournament because he made a comment supporting the Hong Kong protest.
Twitch banned somebody for playing with that player.
Twitch did?
Yeah. I believe so, yeah.
Wow.
and 5G. Now, we've heard a lot about Huawei and their 5G connections. 5G is the Internet of Things, so everything's going to be connected. Your garage door openers, your cameras, your
it's broadband that would
everything.
enable a better Internet of Things. But yes,
Right, but rather than having everything connected through your phone, they're going to be connected directly, and through this 5G protocol, which is being developed and designated by Chinese companies. The Chinese, that Beijing is involved in this, and they will be putting in little hooks and back doors to get into all this stuff. And if we just keep letting the Chinese build all of the 5G network, we're going to wind up giving all that information directly to them. And they will use that information, believe me.
So what do you propose?
When the dragon strikes.
We have to say no. Say no to buying the Chinese modem, the Chinese whatever. You got to start buying stuff out of like Philippines or Vietnam, or I don't know if they're that much better, but they got to be somewhat better.
I'm pretty sure Think Penguin has Chinese sources, don't they?
Some of them, yeah. But there's a manufacturing process project called the IOMA 68, which is specifically to free us from these, interjections into the hardware that do this. But it's sort of a long-term project that's going to start off with some pretty low end.
Well, now they have found on some of these circuit boards, wafer thin integrated circuits planted underneath the other integrated circuits that are almost completely undetectable. You have to just about X-ray and do microscopic analysis.
And the cost to add one of these things is very, very low.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's next to nothing.
And what do these hidden circuitries provide them? Backdoors into the
physical, like ability to switch on a backdoor, and in some cases also remote power.
I heard something to the effect that the Chinese government was not trying to implement the same 5G network that we are getting. It was something on a lower level in China. Do you know anything about that, Gene?
I just blanked out, so I didn't hear you.
The suggestion was that the Chinese government may have a different system in China than they do here.
Yeah, I don't know.
5G.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. And also a lot of this stuff can be, looked at by experts in the U.S. I know Think Penguin looks really closely at the products and the code that they offer over there, and Johnson works with them. Hey, thanks for the call tonight, Gene. Definitely something to be aware of for the future. Hour 2's next. It's Free Talk Live.
Have you heard of LibertyCon? LibertyCon is not only a convention with great speakers like Whole Foods CEO and co-founder John Mackey and Nobel Prize winner Vernon Smith, but it's also unique because you get a chance to network with more than 70 pro-liberty organizations, one-on-one for the purpose of career advancement, business, and internship opportunities. April 3rd through 5th in Washington, D.C. You can learn more by visiting libertycon.com and use code FTL for a $10 discount on your registration. That's libertycon.com.
I can definitely say that I have found the best cryptocurrency wallet. Certainly the best named one. I'm Mark Edge, and I love the Edge wallet. I've been using it for the last few months. You can buy, sell, trade, and hold your cryptocurrency securely. I trust my holdings of all the major cryptocurrencies to Edge wallet, and you should too. No long phrases to memorize, just a username and password. Secure your freedom with Edge wallet. Get it now on Apple or Android in the App Store or at edge.app.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,468, silver at $16.97, and Bitcoin is trading around $8,529. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, the Free State Project in New Hampshire is an organization that promotes the fundamentals of liberty and engages in a wide variety of activism in order to demonstrate those principles. Despite New Hampshire ranking near the top for the freest states, activist Christopher Wade learned that the principles were not respected in Manchester, New Hampshire, when he attempted to film a DUWI checkpoint on April 20th, 2017. Although Wade was not charged, he subsequently retained a lawyer who threatened to sue the police department for violating his constitutional rights of the First and 14th Amendments. After a lengthy back and forth, the city capitulated and awarded a settlement of $15,000 to Wade. It turns out this particular department is fortunately an anomaly, according to Wade, who said it's the first time he has ever had an issue with filming a checkpoint. However, the department has also had to pay out for other constitutional violations in the past. Naturally, such expenses are paid by taxpayers, which illustrates the importance of police knowing that the public is watching their every move. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. In what police accountability activists are claiming is not an isolated incident, more than 1,000 law enforcement officers access the California background check database for personal reasons. The Sacramento Bee reports the criminal background searches have absolutely nothing to do with the work that police officers do. Instead, the searches are indicative of police officers committing crimes, in some cases for friends and family. As an example, the SAC-B uncovered the criminal case against San Francisco Police Sergeant John Haggard. Haggard pleaded guilty to misusing the Department of Motor Vehicles database and was convicted of a misdemeanor, forced to pay $150 in restitution fees, and allowed to resign with his full pension after serving 30 years as a lawman. In September, CBS News investigated the phenomena of police officers illegally accessing databases for their own personal reasons and gain. CBS concluded the problem is rampant, and no governmental agency is keeping track of the violations. A family is facing jail for living in an RV on their own property to repair their home after a fire. The Free Thought Project reports the Navari family didn't just set up an RV and start living like Uncle Eddie in the Griswold's driveway. Instead, they called the alderman, and the mayor was aware of it. They were told that as long as they were approved by the Homeowners Association Board, they could get a temporary permit. Despite being told it was okay, one apparently heartless board member reneged on the decision and made it their mission to make the Navori's lives a living hell. Having nothing better to do, the city actually sent enforcers to the property to threaten and intimidate the family. The family has only a few weeks before their court date next month. If they don't get everything settled with the insurance company before that time, they face fines, court costs, and possible jail time. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
College roommates continue their bonding process until real friends are made, and a teacher hopes they never Google him. It's time for the weekly video feature that's heartier and more comforting than a heaping bowl of mom's butternut squash soup. This is the Onion Week in Review. Longtime James F. Blaine Elementary School teacher Suzanne Pomponio told reporters today that she could not believe how much fatter her second graders are getting. Pomponio estimates that each and every one of her kids must be 8 to 10 pounds heavier than anyone in her 2011 class, adding, quote, "and those kids were pretty fat too."
Honestly, I didn't think it was possible that this year's kids could be fatter than last year's, but they are. I mean, short kids are fat, tall kids are fat, and there's a smell. I don't really know how to describe it.
Local dad Michael Carrain navigated several discount travel websites today with a precision reminiscent of 18th century Viennese prodigy Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart composing a symphony.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here and take control of the airwaves as we launch into the second hour of the program. Coming up, we'll talk about the mutual hatred between Democrats and Republicans. That's what Johnson brought in to discuss tonight. Plus, Conan's got a game of the week and a Mandela effect of the week. But a little bit more on Julian Assange. We're going to get into Julian Assange. We've been talking about people in jail, specifically Epstein not killing himself, and what happened with the guards who've been charged criminally in that case for not filling out their forms, honestly, about doing the rounds, or rather not doing the rounds that they skipped. In the Epstein situation. You can comment. You can share your thoughts. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. We also have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm, so hop into one of those if you want to sound like you're sitting here with us in the studio. It really sounds great. Let's go to Tom. He's in New Hampshire. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's about the limits on federal elections campaign contributions and that kind of regulation. By the way, in the Federalist paper number 68, Alexander Hamilton noted that the detailed plan set forth for the Electoral College was deliberately designed to ensure that the presidential elections would not be controlled by Congress. And you take a look at it, the electors meet in their respective states because those lines on the map mean a lot to bureaucrats, and you're doing it in that state, subject to that state's laws, and there's nothing in the U.S. Constitution allowing Congress to regulate the election campaign. But having said that, you find somebody that wants to give millions and millions of dollars to influence the election, okay? And they're limited to how much they can do that. But in some swing states, I just thought of this. You take a magazine similar to Reason magazine, which is very liberty-oriented, but more partisan towards the libertarian, okay? And interviews with local libertarian candidates. Michigan is a swing state, by the way. Trump got 11,000 more votes than Hillary Clinton got in 2016, but Gary Johnson got 172,000 compared to the 11,000 vote difference between the Democrat and the Republican, 172,000 votes for Gary Johnson. There's 4 states in that category, Florida, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. But if you flood Michigan with this magazine, Local for Michigan, and the person who's paying millions and millions of dollars to it, let's say they want the Democrat to win, they have the publisher send a free copy to every registered Republican who's going to read it and realize just how bad the Democrats and the Republicans are and vote libertarian, draw votes away from the Republican. And it would be hilarious if...
Okay, so let me see if I'm following what you're saying here. You're saying that you could influence the election in Michigan by sending a magazine which has an editorial position on who to vote for. In this case, you're recommending whoever the libertarian nominee will end up being. That would be a way to essentially affect an election without it being a campaign contribution or a political action committee contribution?
because it's not campaign literature. It's a magazine, a political-based magazine. I mean, if you buy gift subscriptions to Reason magazine for every registered voter in the state, that's not a campaign contribution.
So who's the really wealthy libertarian that's going to bankroll this?
Well, it doesn't have to be one of the wealthy libertarians, because if you send a free copy to every registered Republican, then that draws votes away from the Republican, and the Democrat wins.
Right, but wouldn't it be the libertarian who would want to send that to the Republicans, or you're saying a Democrat would send it to the Republicans?
A Democrat would want to send it to the Republicans to draw down the number of Republicans. Trump got 2.2 million votes, and if you take away 1% of those, that's 22,000. That's double the difference between them in the last election. So somebody with tons of money, and it would be hilarious if somebody else was to do the same thing for the opposite party wing of the Republican Party, because now you get all these more people voting for the Libertarians.
Yeah, well, it's a nice idea, Tom. I doubt anybody's gonna run with that, but who knows? Maybe a super wealthy Democrat or Republican is listening, and they're gonna take you up on the idea. Thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate it.
Yeah, but
Don't get your hopes up.
Who reads magazines?
I know, right? They're going out of business left and right.
I mean, he's talking about trying to win the swing voters, the undecided people in the middle who probably are undecided because they don't read magazines or articles on the internet, and they just kind of, they're just tooling along, living their lives, and they don't know what they know.
To be fair, the people who are likely to read a magazine would be older folks, and so older people are also more likely to vote. I mean, all things considered, it's probably not a bad idea to get around campaign finance laws, is what Tom has suggested there. But it would require a significant amount of money.
If you want to truly manipulate 2020, you've got to get in bed with Google and do what they did most likely in 2016, which was manipulate the algorithms so that certain articles were not being seen at the top of the list. They're way down at the bottom, and
like the articles about Hillary in the emails.
Correct.
Yeah. Which, of course,
or any opposition that we're running, all you got to do is push everything to the bottom, and people have such a low attention span that usually they don't make it that far. They pop,
sure,
they do
first page. If you're not on the first page,
Google search. The Google search, they see the first 5, whatever's on the screen,
right? First
and that's
4,
it.
First 5.
And sometimes, and a lot of times, they don't even read it. They just see the headline. They just said the headline.
Yeah.
So that's who you got to get in bed with. Those are the guys that had the power to swing an election.
Well, of course, the other people that have power are the people who count the votes, or the voting machine software that has been found to have been, easily accessible or hackable. And he who counts the votes is the person who's most important.
He who writes the history books. He who counts the votes.
The flaw in that theory is that during the last election, Google was, in fact, and has been caught. They were trying to influence the election for Hillary, and
that's where I was going with that.
And they didn't. They failed horrifically.
Well, yeah, I mean they're not going to have total control, but if they,
you would think that they would have a lot more influence than they did, because if they didn't have any influence, then it would have been a landslide for Trump.
I do believe Silicon Valley, and I do believe the progressive left-leaning pundits and whatnot and news agencies thought. According to their statistics, that in fact Hillary would get it. But what they didn't consider was that so many people in this country aren't speaking up and talking their opinion, explaining their opinion, because they don't want to get spat on. They don't want to get doxxed. They don't want to get their tires punctured because there's a tribe in this country that are crazy. They're a bunch of lunatics. And no one wants to deal with that, so you just don't talk about it. Talking about, yes, that's a prime example. That is what has arisen. I mean, if I want to have a conversation, there's plenty of things that the right are pulling that are just silly. Their border wall is a prime example, but at least I can sit down with a Republican, I can talk about it. I can tell them why I think it's a bad idea, or why the war on drugs is a bad idea. But if I want to sit down with a liberal and talk about
acid in your face,
if I want to sit down with a liberal and talk about why I believe that climate alarmism is lunacy, I'm going to be afraid that I might have a rock through my window the next day, because they're crazy people, because they make decisions based on feelings and emotions, and they don't actually think things through.
Well, I think that's true for a lot of the Republicans too.
Both extremes, the left-leaning and right-leaning, yes, there are a lot
because
of nuts
the Republicans
out there.
are making decisions based on fear, which is a very strong feeling. The fear of the immigrants
taking them a job,
right? The fear of
coming in and raping my women.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
But it is frustrating. And we can talk about the Republicans and Democrats coming up here, but I did promise Julian Assange, and so we should probably give you at least a little bit of good news. I don't know if it's too little. It's probably too little too late, but according to the Mirror in the UK, and I could have sworn this already happened, the rape charges have been dropped.
I think they weren't following up with it because he was out of the country for so long they couldn't get to him, so I think he just fell off the radar.
I feel like this news already happened, though. Like, what was it that previously happened with the rape charges in Sweden? Because I feel like this is a fresh story. It was just published today. So we'll get into what's going on with Julian Assange. He is not in good shape in prison there in the UK. Coming up.
Anarchapulco is the world's foremost conference for voluntarists, thinkers, and activists, held in beautiful Acapulco, Mexico. Share ideas on how to live free and escape the clutches of the state. Their unparalleled lineup of speakers will discuss entrepreneurship, investments, politics, philosophy, health, sustainability, lifestyles, and personal relationships. Stay in a world-class resort and enjoy the sun and beaches. February the 13th through the 16th. Visit anarchapulco.com for early bird pricing and 10% off with coupon code FTL.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynavite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Do you have a qualified plan, an IRA, 401k, 401(b), or some other type of investment account? Would you like to learn how the ultra-wealthy take their investment accounts and make them legally 100% tax-free? Have your money liquid and invest in literally anything you want to, completely tax-free with the blessing of the IRS. And no, it's not a Roth. Join us now at dna.freetalklive.com to watch the free pre-recorded webinar. Watch now at dna.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want. Just dial in toll free here. Our number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Julian Assange, apparently there's a little bit of good news, and it was confusing at first, but we've finally figured out exactly what has gone on here. The headline is that the Swedish government has dropped the rape investigation that they've been working on for basically a decade, on and off. And apparently it's the on and off aspect here that was confusing, because I could have sworn we already covered this a couple of years ago. And according to Wikipedia, we had. It was in 2017. In May, the Swedish government dropped the investigation into the allegation of rape back then. But then they started it up again in May of 2019. So, according to the story here, it's actually happened a few times. 2012, they began the proceedings in 2012, and then in 2015 they dropped it, and then they began the proceedings again, and then in 2017 they dropped it, and then they began the proceedings again this year in May of this year, and then now they've dropped it again. According to the Mirror in the UK, the prosecutor in Sweden has said that, this is Eva Marie Persson, said they made the decision because the evidence has, quote, weakened considerably due to the long period of time that has elapsed since the events in question, saying, quote, I would like to emphasize the injured party has submitted a credible and reliable version of events. Her statements have been coherent, extensive, and detailed. However, my overall assessment is the evidential situation has been weakened to such an extent that there is no longer any reason to continue the investigation. So hopefully the third time is going to be the charm here, and they're going to continue to keep these charges dropped off of Julian Assange, which, for those of you who haven't been paying close attention to him, is the reason why he was arrested in the UK in the first place, or at least was wanted for arrest, to be clear. He was ordered to show up to court to be extradited to Sweden to face the rape charges, and that's when he ended up in the Ecuadorian embassy for something like 6 or 7 years. Eventually, the Ecuadorian president they changed out the president, so there was a new president who came into power there, and he was more, I guess, persuaded by the UK government, and he basically booted Julian Assange out of the embassy. And once that happened, UK government goons were there waiting for him. They snatched him up.
What about all the ridiculous reports of Julian Assange doing some sort of I don't know, he was being belligerent and screaming and, I don't know, doing crazy things, defecating all over the place.
You talking about in the embassy?
Yeah.
In his last days, it was rumored that he was acting a little crazy.
Interesting. I hadn't heard that. I mean, I don't doubt you that it could have happened. I know that they were mad at him because he essentially outed some of the corruption within the Ecuadorian government.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So maybe the Ecuadorian government was making that crap up.
And, of course, it was a new guy, right? With new leanings, new ideas on what needed to be done about him.
And Assange made him look bad because he uncovered some corruption about this new guy and whatever else was going on. I forget all the details about it, but we did report on it at the time. So he kind of bit the hand that was feeding him to some extent. And, kudos to him for having that integrity to be able to just go after even the very government that was providing him with protection. And of course, you could argue that it wasn't even him that did it, that it was just WikiLeaks that did it. But either way, that's one of the likely reasons why he ended up getting kicked out, because he made the new president look pretty pretty corrupt and pretty bad, and so they just booted him out because of that. The UK government snatched him up, but at that time, the Swedish government wasn't looking to extradite him. And so the whole reason he was in the Ecuadorian embassy in the first place was to avoid being extradited to Sweden. But then because of that, he missed the court date in the UK. And so then there was a warrant for his arrest in the UK for missing the court date that would have possibly led to his extradition to Sweden. And because he missed the court date, even though the charges that he was to face in Sweden had been dropped, the UK government doesn't care about that. They cared about the fact that he didn't go to court. And if you don't go to court, judges get real mad about that sort of thing. They issue warrants for your arrest. And so they sentenced him to a 12-month sentence, I think it was, due to that. And ultimately, he has served the time on that at this point, as I understand it. So he's only being held now pending extradition. He's not in there on any kind of criminal charges in the UK. So they're holding him in a kind of a, as I understand it, torturous circumstances where he is likely being denied human contact. He's likely being held in solitary confinement. A recent court appearance by Assange was he appeared very disheveled. He appeared to be out of it, like mentally. He was not his normal self. His father's concerned that he's going to die in prison and in the custody of the Americans. So that's where he's at these days. And there is a bit of an update on maybe there's a chance that Pamela Anderson could save him. You know, the star of Baywatch, that Pamela Anderson. There were stories when he was in the embassy that she would come to visit him. Because, you know, I guess
remember hearing stories.
Yeah.
There were news stories about it, too.
I presume he had his own room or something like that because, you know, maybe she gave him a little something, you know, to keep him
You know, if she was
distracted.
a Kardashian, she could do it.
She could do what?
She could get Assange freed.
Why?
Because Kardashians, they're cool like that. And they're still young. I don't know about Kim. Not Kim,
Pamela.
but Pamela, excuse me.
She's got to be in her 50s by now.
She's old.
Early 50s, maybe? Pamela Anderson has shown back up in the news here. She's written to Donald Trump and Melania Trump as she seeks a presidential pardon for Julian Assange. Now, can you preemptively pardon as the president? Can the president, you know, pardon somebody who hasn't actually been charged yet? Or I guess he has been indicted.
He's been charged with bail jumping.
Not in the U.S.
According to this article, he's being held on a 50-week sentence in Belmarsh
the UK
for jumping bail in 2012.
That's right. I thought that he had served out that sentence at this point, and he is being held now pending extradition hearings. But maybe he is still in the 50 weeks. I know they picked him up in April, which would be strange for it to have already been taken care of at this point. So yeah, maybe he is still sitting on that.
He's got to be
that sentence. But they could still hold him anyway, even if he was.
Well, they'll come up with something else by then. Maybe Sweden dropped their charges, and once this 50 weeks is up, Sweden will jump back in and re-up theirs.
Assange was, according to the story, forcibly removed from the Ecuadorian embassy in April. He's been on lockdown in Belmarsh to the 50-week sentence that you just mentioned.
Why is the UK holding him anyways? He's Australian. That's the craziest part about all this.
Well, because they're doing the federal government's bidding. The U.S. government wants him extradited, and the UK government, you know, they're both buddies. Those two governments are real
buddies.
close.
They're all close.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. There is a letter, though, that Pamela Anderson has written to the Trumps, and maybe she's got what it takes to get this done. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Because remember, Trump said he loves WikiLeaks during the campaign.
I think he's backed off on that a little bit.
Sounds like it. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
I want to tell you about my favorite cryptocurrency wallet, Edge Wallet, at edge.app. Edge is the wallet I use more than any other, and that was true long before Edge Wallet became a sponsor of Free Talk Live. Edge Wallet allows you to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold your cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and more. It's available for both Android and iOS, and you can download it via the Play or App Store or via Edge Wallet's website, edge.app. Secure your freedom with Edge Wallet.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Do you sometimes feel that healthy eating can be a lot of work with very little reward? Well, no need to worry any longer. Here are the Onion's tips for healthy eating. First, identify your weaknesses, and then condition yourself to avoid problem foods by associating them with deceased relatives, unrequited loves, and traumatic events. Remember, alcohol is a source of empty calories, so be sure to keep your drinking under control. Unless you're really stressed out. Like if something happens at work, or if your cat gets hit by a car. If you find yourself suddenly craving a fatty food, let yourself enjoy the best of both worlds. Tape a slice of ham to your tongue and slowly absorb the taste throughout the day without swallowing. Stay motivated by paying yourself $1 every day until you meet your weight loss goals. At the end of 10 years' time, spend that cash on a cosmetic operation of your choice. There, now you're ready to begin your new healthy lifestyle.
This is the Onion News Network.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You bring up what you want here. The number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Can Pamela Anderson, the movie star, is she even in anything these days? But everybody knows who Pamela Anderson is, right? Well, maybe the kids these days don't know, but
forget movie star. I think she's best known for Baywatch, right? I mean,
for sure.
Yeah.
And there's another more personal movie that came out during her high days.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes.
Personal movie?
Like a sex
homemade
film?
porn.
Yes,
Yeah.
with Tommy Lee.
You never saw that?
No, I don't think I've ever even heard of that.
That was big
Was this
news.
in the 90s or something? Or
No, early 2000s, late
Okay.
90s.
Huh.
Early 2000s, yeah.
Wow.
And speaking of, Kardashian had one too, right?
I don't know.
So I mean, maybe there's something to these individuals, these stars who are they know people.
Wait, I think I messed up that name. I don't think it's. Is it Tommy? Was his name? I mean, I know
Tommy Lee Jones.
No, you're thinking of no. Okay, you're thinking of the singer now, or the guy from the band.
He has the same name, right?
Is it
Not
Tommy
Jones?
Tommy
His name's
Jones?
No, I think it's just Tommy Lee. I think that guy's name is just Tom.
Right.
So Tommy Lee Jones is the actor.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Right. Yeah. Okay, now that you say that it was the band guy, I do remember that. Yeah, I did not remember anything with Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee.
Well, I'll tell you.
Well, we don't know everything that's
What's gonna
going on
happen?
in Hollywood. They probably all know each other.
Well, so anyway, we can talk more about that, but also I want you to know about LibertyCon. It's coming up in April of 2020. It is April 3rd through the 5th in Washington, D.C. It's for people who care about freedom, and maybe you want to network with more than 70 pro-liberty organizations for the purpose of career advancement or business or internship opportunities. You'll get a great list of speakers like John Mackey from Whole Foods, the co-founder there, speaking on conscious capitalism. Vernon Smith, Nobel Prize winner in economics, speaking on alternative markets. Miriam Issa, pop culture expert and political commentator with over 300 million YouTube views. Plus Nassim Nicholas Taleb, who spent 21 years as a risk taker before becoming a researcher in philosophical, mathematical, and practical problems with probability. Lots more to learn. Go to libertycon.com for more information and more speakers and events and such. You can also use code FTL and save $10 on your registration. This is an incredibly affordable convention, by the way. $10 is actually a significant discount on the price. I think it's, when I looked over the weekend, it was like $79.99 or something like that for an entire weekend-long convention. I don't think I've ever seen a convention that was that affordable. So get on over to libertycon.com. Plus, if you're a student, funds are tight. You're not sure if you can make it there. Good news. They've got student travel scholarships available. They really want you to attend this thing. libertycon.com, plus discounted rooms at the Marriott Marquis. It's April 3rd through the 5th, and Free Talk Live will be broadcasting from the event, so we'll look forward to seeing you there. libertycon.com. Use code FTL for that $10 discount. Baywatch actress Pamela Anderson, she wrote a letter to the Trumps where, wisely, she praised Donald and Melania Trump before asking for a favor. She wrote, quote, "I'm always enlightened and encouraged when I see the great work that you both have achieved during your period as the leading couple of the people. You complement each other extremely well, Mr. President, with your personal touch and emotional flair that strikes a chord with the people, together with the enduring poise and presented dignity that the First Lady upholds. Integrity was certainly the underlying thread that defeated Hillary and brought the world to this great couple, cannoning you into the most powerful position in the world." She added that Trump would, quote, "be forever remembered as the champion you were always destined to be, and acting in Assange's favor would become his legacy," adding, quote, "if you were to pardon Julian Assange and not allow the legal precedent of extradition of a fact-publishing journalist for a life of torture, then the people would salute your action," unquote.
And why didn't she just say, "Oh, and by the way, he's the one who got you elected"?
Yeah,
that's all you would have to. That's all you would have to say.
He sure as hell helped. That may not have been that may not have been Assange's intention, but by releasing all the dirt on the Democrats, it definitely assisted.
And she can fit Manning in there as well. There you go.
Absolutely.
Two birds with one stone.
Pamela Anderson also took to Twitter to share several photos with Trump, from whom she attended, or rather with whom she attended at his birthday party back in 2005. So the two know each other. She's not just actress Pamela Anderson.
Right.
She's been spending time in the past with Trump.
Activist.
Yeah.
Anderson.
It's true. Yeah. So kudos to her for doing that. I hope that it makes a difference. Whether or not Trump is actually in charge, as much as people would like to believe that he is, leads back to some conspiracies. Like, is he actually the person who makes these decisions?
So on September
22nd,
when his time was up,
Assange,
the Judge Barrister, refused, and this is why Assange's attorneys didn't. They knew she would refuse, and this is why they didn't even try to put up bail. Her quote, You have been produced today because your sentence of imprisonment is about to come to an end. When that happens, your remand status changes from a serving prisoner to a person facing extradition. And she refused to... Okay, I lost the quote.
Well, I'd also seen something where...
Therefore, I have given your lawyer an opportunity to make an application for bail on your behalf, and she has declined to do so, perhaps not surprisingly in light of your history of absconding in these proceedings. In my view, I have substantial ground for believing if I release you, you will abscond again. And that is why he's being held even after serving his 50 weeks.
Right. Even though it wasn't 50 weeks. It was something
something shorter than that.
Of that. Sad stuff. And I remember, I don't know if it was one of our callers who said this, but apparently in the UK, it would be highly unusual, if not even against their rules, to extradite someone in his position to face I know what it was, potentially treasonous charges or something like that. If he could be facing the death penalty, they won't extradite.
And how do you commit treason against another country when you're Australian?
Yeah.
How do you against the U.S.?
He may not have ever set foot in the United States.
Doesn't even make sense. This is probably why he hasn't gone anywhere, because they can't figure out what to do with him, especially when so many people know about him. When you got Pamela activists out there writing letters to the Trumps, I think they're still trying to figure out what to do with him. I think they're scratching their head and they're trying to figure out why he hasn't committed suicide yet. But maybe if they torture him enough, he'll actually get away with doing it.
Well, maybe that's what they're hoping for. Is maybe they know that eventually they're going to have to let him out, because if they follow their own rules, if again it's true that he may be facing the death penalty in the United States, that supposedly they're not supposed to extradite for something like that. If they follow those rules, then once they come to the end of these extradition hearings, they'll have to let him out. But by that time, if he's been in solitary confinement the entire time, he will have his head totally effed with, and he will be a shell of the version of Julian Assange that went in there.
Yep.
And maybe that's what they're hoping to do. They're hoping to just torture him to the point where he's no longer the same person when he gets out. And he's not going to be able to return to prominence or head up WikiLeaks or anything like that. I don't know. That may be the best case scenario at this point. I don't know for how long they're able to hold him for these extradition hearings. I know that the Kim.com extradition hearings, I believe, in Australia are still going as of the last time I looked.
Just thinking, you just keep racking up enough people. We got the people of Hong Kong, we got Kim.com, Snowden, Assange.
You got a bunch of countries. You got France,
right?
I'm just thinking, get all these people together in one place.
Get them all together on the same street, and we could take it down. We could burn the whole damn thing down.
There you go. You get your. They just need to come to the Free State Project.
And what is our revolution here in the States? We can't decide what damn gender we want to identify with.
Right.
That's what bothers us the most. It's a clown world. It's a damn circus.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, you see people in the streets in large numbers in places like Hong Kong, and then also, of course, Venezuela. There was there was another country as well that was in like Northern Europe or whatever.
You got France, the yellow vests in France, and our news media doesn't cover them at all.
They're still going.
They've been rioting every weekend this whole year.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And we don't even know that. And that bothers me that our media is covering the Hong Kong incident, but they won't cover France. So I don't know what's going on there.
Why is that?
Why?
Yeah. All right, so good luck, Pamela Anderson. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can bring up what you want. Let's get into the Republicans and Democrats and their hatred for one another. That's what Johnson wants to talk about, and your calls and thoughts are welcome. Plus, Game of the Week coming up.
When you have a pain in the neck, a real pain in the neck, back, shoulder, or legs, you now have two convenient choices to get fast relief without taking another pill. Because now, Sunny Bay heating wraps and pillows are available at both Amazon and Walmart. Yes, see Sunny Bay's 4.5 to 5-star customer reviews on Amazon.com or Walmart.com. Our microwavable heat wraps, heatable neck pillows, and extra large body wraps are designed better for perfect support where and when you need it. Even while driving, Sunny Bay wraps will not burn and stay balanced to provide soothing hot or cold therapy to help treat temporary or chronic pain. And the best part, Sunny Bay quality products start at under $20. Join thousands of happy customers and see why Sunny Bay products have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. It's easy. Click Amazon or Walmart and search today for Sunny Bay.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with Reputation Defender. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with Reputation Defender. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771. For your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with Reputation Defender. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, inviting you to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. Coming up, Conan's got a game of the week plus a Mandela effect of the week on the way. And in the studio, by the way, you've got Ian here.
And Johnson.
And maybe it's Conan, or maybe the Mandela effect has changed during the course of this episode, and I am somebody else.
Could be. We'll go on and get into that coming up here in a little bit, but also I want to make sure you know about Balance of Nature, because good nutrition is key to looking and feeling great, and eating right all the time can be a challenge. Travel and work schedules can definitely get in the way, or maybe you just don't have the desire or time to shop and cook the right foods. Well, Balance of Nature has something that can help you. They're Balance of Nature fruit capsules and veggie capsules. With 3 of each, you get 10 servings of fruits and veggies, and that's a lot of nutrition. So go online to become a preferred customer, which gives you the best pricing and free shipping. And then after your 3rd month, Balance of Nature will ship to you at no charge an additional set of fruits and veggies. You can go to balanceofnature.com, use discount code FTL to get that deal. That's code FTL like Free Talk Live at balanceofnature.com. Johnson, you wanted to talk about a piece from Reason Magazine tonight about headline, Mutual Hatred is All Democrats and Republicans Have to Offer.
That's right. So This story is from JD Tusil from Reason Magazine, which we mentioned earlier. So the question asked is, what defines a Republican these days? Or how about a Democrat? It's a difficult question to answer.
We're not the other guys.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
And that's how they vote, right on down the line, just based on whether it is a D or an R next to the name. And never, never, never vote for the third party guy, because that'll just steal votes away from and basically land the other guy, the other wrestler, because that's all it really is a stupid wrestling match, because they're going and having...
Trump was literally in the WWE at one point. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, they are behind the scenes going and hanging out with each other, whether it's at the bar or whether it's the wedding or the picnic or whatever, because they're all on the same damn team and no one can figure this out.
I wish I was wearing either my Demopublicans or Republicrats t-shirt tonight.
From libertyminded.com,
Yes.
which is available for sale on the website, right?
That's right, yes.
They're very cool designs, by the way.
It's basically, the t-shirt says that, and it says Citizen Zero on the back, and it says if you're, voting for a team, then you shouldn't be voting.
You've already lost.
Two wings of the same damn buzzard. They're the same guys. They're the same people.
I like the Alien versus Predator tagline: "Whoever wins, we lose."
Right.
The sheep lose. They get eated.
No, we all lose.
Well, I mean, of course,
whether it's Hillary or Trump, it's going to suck for freedom.
Well, unless they're lizards, and it's their whole plan. It's the whole goal to just keep us subdued.
It's Lizardtopia.
They control the world.
But you've touched on something interesting here, is what do these people stand for? Can you ask a Democrat or a Republican a question of, can you sum up in one sentence your beliefs, your philosophy?
Yeah, most of them.
They couldn't.
Especially not without mentioning the other.
Yeah, right, without mentioning the alternative.
If you were to watch the Democratic debates these days, pretty much all they talk about, they don't even talk about progressive values or leanings. It's all about how we're going to impeach Trump.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're running on.
Sure.
So it goes on here to say, after years of shifting priorities and ideologies, the beliefs of Republicans of today bear little resemblance to those of somebody of that affiliation from a decade ago, and the modern Democrat is just as far removed from recent predecessors. But one thing is clear: Republicans aren't Democrats and hate anybody who is. Democrats feel the same about Republicans. Identity established by mutual loathing is pretty much all there is to go on when partisans of the two factions so rapidly change positions, sometimes despising one another for holding fast to beliefs that they themselves once supported. In their struggle for control of government, it's all about loyalty and power without any deeper meaning. 6 in 10 Republicans say that they would rather have a president who agrees with their political views but does not set a good moral example for the country, as opposed to one who sets a good moral example but does not agree with them politically. In contrast, 75% of Democrats prefer a president who sets a good moral example over one who agrees with their issue positions, Gallup reported last week. In 1999, Republicans and Democrats' opinions were reversed.
How strange.
That is horrible, actually. Yeah. So I'm making this decision based on basically if he looks good and answers the questions nicely, and doesn't talk down the other candidate, but if I don't agree on anything he has to say, but he looks good in the tie, I'm going to vote for him, which is what I hear from that 75%.
Yeah, and this was reversed in 1999, and now, of course, Republicans downplay moral issues at a time when the president from their party shows every sign of being morally crippled, just as Democrats de-emphasized morals when their own occupant of the White House had his sleaziness on display.
Right.
Then, as now, tribal affiliation overcame any supposed principles. The primacy of tribal affiliation has also been obvious in the course of semi-regular media pranks when partisans have been deliberately presented with misattributed quotes about public policy issues.
Meaning that they take a quote that somebody said, put a different name on that quote, present it to somebody who's a partisan, and ask them, what do you think about this? And then they will get upset about it based on their perception of who said it.
Right. They'll go to a Warren rally and present them with Trump quotes and say that Elizabeth Warren said those things and what their thoughts are on it.
Oh, I just love her. I love what she... Right, exactly. So they'll respond based on their perception of who said it.
Yeah.
and what team they're on.
Yeah. Interviewees inevitably become befuddled when they learn that the bad opinion they dutifully denounced belonged not so long ago to the good side. More broadly, the recent changes in party positions have involved the transformation of the GOP into the party of Patrick J. Buchanan and Donald J. Trump, defined by cultural resentments, crude populism, and ethnic nationalism. As Peter Wenner puts it in The Atlantic, at some time, the Democratic Party is embracing a form of identity politics in which gender, race, and ethnicity become definitional, along with progressive socialist economics that are fiscally ruinous, invest massive and unwarranted trust in central planners, and weaken America's security. Such rapid shifts on issues and ideology have left little time for developing a strong basis of enthusiasm for what political partisans are supposedly for. But that's left people with plenty of energy to expend on what they're against.
Well, it's always easier to find fault
right
with other people than to find fault with oneself, or in this case, with one's political party.
I mean, even in any form of activism, and that's why, again, since I was mentioning t-shirts, I have a t-shirt that says, "That's a great idea, you should do that." So it's even in activism, right?
LibertyMinded.com.
It's just people, like they are willing to tell, just come up with ideas. Just say, this should be done. You should do that. It's not really a, talking about what you're for. It's just a muddling of ideas. It's not actually any kind of real activism.
Or another one I've been hearing a lot lately, and I'm getting sick and fed up with it, is let's have a conversation. I just want to have a conversation. Let's open it up. and then all you're doing is just talking circles, and nothing ever gets done. And
now, who's saying this? Politicians are saying this?
Everybody. Our leaders.
Ugh, they're not my leaders.
They're not my leaders, and I'm getting tired of that one as well.
Oh, I've been sick of that one forever.
Our city leaders, our Senate and Congress leaders. No, they're not our leaders. They're supposed to be our representatives.
They're losers.
And they're not.
If they had
they're not even doing that.
If they could lead something, they'd go out and lead a business, or they'd lead some sort of charitable effort, or they'd do something of value. But they've absolutely failed at doing anything of value. So they become politicians.
They're either lifelong politicians, or they are helping their business, lobbying for their business to get those benefits, to get those scraps.
But leaders are people who lead the way. They say, all right, this is what I'm going to do. If you want to follow me, you can. Here I am. I'm doing this. And these people aren't like that. These people are panderers, and they're corrupt, and they're scum, and everybody knows politicians are scum, but for whatever reason, they just put it aside every 4 years.
And that's not the nature of government, to actually lead by example and to lead the way.
No, they follow.
It is to take power and to force us all to comply.
Well, look, the politicians like to run out in front of a parade, right? So that way they can pretend like they've been there the whole time.
And kiss babies on the head.
Sure, but if they see some sort of movement, let's talk about like legalization of cannabis, for instance.
They won't touch it. They won't touch it unless they know it's a winning argument.
That's what I'm saying. They wait until the parade's
unless,
going.
of course, you're Biden and you still fell off that wagon.
Oh,
you still
dude,
can't get
I've
back
got
on
that
it.
story tonight. I don't know if we're going to get to it, but yeah, Biden says he won't legalize marijuana because it might be a gateway drug.
Right.
There's a whole story on it from thehill.com. We don't have time for it right now, but maybe at some point we'll get to it.
Until he has proof that it isn't a gateway drug. Well, I don't think anybody should be voting for him until we have proof that Kid Sniffer isn't a pedophile.
He's still stuck in the 1970s.
He might want to check the 1999 Institute of Medicine study that was done 20 years ago by his own government, which he was a part of, presumably at the time, that actually found that it wasn't a gateway drug. But, it's 20 years ago. He probably forgot about it. More coming up here in moments. We'll get deeper into this partisan nonsense coming up. Hour 3's next. It's Free Talk Live.
Balance of nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
Scientific research has shown that many cancers and lifestyle diseases can be prevented with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. This prevention comes from the phytochemicals in the plants. They fight against oxidants that damage the cell's DNA, causing mutations that lead to disease. In my lab, I've seen the immune response increase, I've seen your DNA repair capacity increase, and I've seen DNA protection. As a scientist, I know that balance of nature works.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Call or go online now and become a preferred customer, which gives you our best pricing and free shipping. And we will take an additional 35% off of your first order. This will be a limited time offer, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code FTL.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,474, silver at $17.17, and Bitcoin is trading around $8,103. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, 2 federal correctional officers who were on duty the night Jeffrey Epstein died were arrested early Tuesday on federal charges related to their failure to check on him the night he died in his cell. That's according to the New York Times, citing a person with knowledge of the matter. The newspaper reports the 2 Federal Bureau of Prisons employees were expected to be charged later Tuesday morning and appear in United States District Court in Manhattan. The charges would be the first to arise from a criminal inquiry into the death of Epstein, who hanged himself at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. The guards face harsh scrutiny after Epstein was found unresponsive in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City on August 10th, after failing to check on him every 30 minutes as required. Instead, they fell asleep for hours and falsified records to cover up what they had done, according to reports. Prosecutors offered the officers a plea deal, according to CNN, which they declined. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Swedish prosecutors have dropped the ongoing investigation into a 2010 rape allegation made against WikiLeaks co-founder Julian Assange, citing the weakening of evidence over the course of 9 years since the alleged incident occurred. The Mind Unleashed reports a Swedish woman had accused him of the crime, which she said took place in August 2010, after she met the Australian during a conference in Stockholm. Assange, who has steadfastly denied the accusation, had dodged extradition to Sweden for 7 years, after being given refuge at the Ecuadorian embassy in London. In April, Ecuador's government allowed British police to enter the embassy and arrest the 48-year-old shortly following the release of a batch of documents, allegedly implicating Ecuadorian President Lenin Moreno in corruption. Since then, Assange has been held at the maximum security HMP Belmarsh prison in London on a 50-week sentence of breaching bail conditions for seeking refuge at the embassy. The U.S. government is seeking the extradition of Assange to the United States on 18 charges. A bill that could see marijuana comprehensively legalized on a federal level has been scheduled for a vote on Wednesday or shortly thereafter, marking the first ever vote to put an end to federal cannabis prohibition. The Mind Unleashed reports that on Monday, the House Judiciary Committee posted a marked-up version of the bill, known as the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act. The legislation, introduced by Chairman Gerald Nadler and sponsored by Representative Kamala Harris, enjoys bipartisan support and would lead to the removal of cannabis from the Controlled Substances Act, ending prohibition on a federal level, which would allow states to move forward with their own policies, regulating the commerce and consumption of the plant. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
The dangerous winter storm Rocky is expected to pummel the Midwest throughout the day, with meteorologists predicting the blizzard will hit Kevin Hodges of Joliet, Illinois, the hardest, given the way his year's been going.
Yeah, we're stocking up on everything. I think school's going to be canceled. We're just glad we're not Kevin right now.
Joining us now is Jordan Blake in Chicago. Hello, Jordan. Just how crippling will this storm be for Kevin?
Well, we've already seen a lot of damage. Motorists in Kansas trapped in their cars on the freeway. That's nothing compared to the emotional damage Hodges can expect. Having to deal with a sick cat, frustrating new hours at work, and a confusing breakup all in the past 6 months.
You know, we're getting reports that he recently loaned $600 to a friend who has no intention of paying him back and slammed his finger in a car door last month. Does the National Weather Service have any advice for Kevin today?
Not much he can do. The sky is really vulnerable right now. Authorities are recommending that he just stay indoors and think about his mistakes.
That sounds like good advice. You know, he looks like a real sad piece of shit. Stay warm out there, Jordan.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want as we kick off the third hour of the program. We're going to continue into this story that Johnson's sharing with us about the Democrats versus the Republicans. What really is the difference? They both just seem to hate each other for the sake of hating the other side, and they're not really focusing on what it is that they believe, if they actually do believe anything at all.
They do believe. They believe that they know better than the common man and that they need to retain power, even if it's every other year or every other 2 years,
or else the other guys
in order to use the power of government to control their neighbors.
Sure, to reward their friends and punish their enemies. So we can get deeper into that, but we do actually have Dave on the line in New York, and we're going to go to him first. He is watching us on YouTube tonight. And Dave, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Dave, what's on your mind tonight?
First thing I want to know, I see you guys have a dog down there. What's the name of your dog's name, just out of curiosity?
The dog is, studio dog here is named Jazzy.
Jazzy?
Jazzy, yeah.
Yeah. I was fired from a podcast.
Really? Okay, which podcast?
Was there a dog involved?
Were you making money? You were a podcaster who was actually making money off of it?
No, because these people, I'm just going to give initials. TW, this guy named Gary up in Canada, and TJ out in Seattle. They're making money off of my misery, right? These people, it's this talk on Anchor.fm, whatever.
Hold on. Slow down. We got to figure this out. What is the name of the podcast that you were allegedly a part of?
They keep on changing the name. It's on Anchor.fm.
What is that?
Something about
What is Anchor.fm?
It's an app for your phone or something, and you can make podcasts with it. And
How
stuff.
come? Look, you've got apps on your phone. How come you don't put the Discord app on there and call in with that? Because it would sound a lot better.
Because I don't use Dix.org. I don't use that app.
Discord, dummy.
You're not going to find it if you type in Dix.org. You're going to find a lot of other stuff, though.
Yeah. So you ought to try that. So
I don't use that app.
Well, you should, because it's a good app. You like having conversations.
It's very popular in the gaming community.
Yeah.
Did you hear Gene call in earlier? He sounded like he was in the room with us. He sounded crystal clear. He sounded better than us.
I don't use Richard.org, okay?
My God, you're so ignorant. It's Discord, dude. Discord.
DICK.org.
No, okay. You're being purposefully obtuse.
It's like what we're having right now, Discord.
Okay, so what is the name of this podcast that you're on? Because the Anchor.fm appears to be a podcasting generation thing, like meaning that you can put your podcast on this this Anchor site, like it helps people with podcasting. So, what's the name of the show that you were on?
We each have our own shows like this. TW, we all load up the app, whatever or something, and we all hit each other up. TW is in Boston, okay. Gary's in Canada. TJ is out
Dave,
in Seattle.
If you all have your own shows, then you didn't get fired from somebody else's show.
I did get fired because CW said because I want to be paid $500 up front before I do a podcast.
Dude, we've been doing this show for years on broadcast radio and on podcast, and nobody has made $500 for one show. And I don't mean nobody, our co-host. No one has made $500 for one show,
but
ever.
You guys get revenue from ads.
Actually, I take it back. There were some Bitcoin live remotes where we did get paid $500 a day to do those, but for a typical show, there's no kind of money like that in this at all. So you're being completely unrealistic on what you're expecting.
TW saying, "Oh, I'll pay you $1 for a podcast." No, I want to be. If I'm going to be paid for a podcast, I want to be paid $500.
Wait. Okay, all right.
Front.
Hey, I don't blame you. Everybody wants to make some money. You know, it'd be great to make that kind of money. How many episodes were you on before you got fired?
There were like a few, like 3 or 4, something like that.
So you did 3 or 4 shows, yet you can't actually tell me the name of the show.
Because when you load up Anchor.fm, you can make your own title and stuff like that. You can make your own title.
Right. So what was the title?
One of them was called the hell was it called? Swamp Pool House or something or rather.
So here's one of the reasons why you shouldn't be on this show, because you don't even know the name of the show you are on. Why would I want, if I was going to hire a co-host, why would I want a co-host who's so out of it they don't even know the name of the show?
But you have 2 of them sitting right there in front of you.
Yeah, they both know the name of the show they're on. They know how to get to the studio, too.
I'm sure they are being paid to sit there.
Not always. Actually, for many years, we didn't pay anybody. The only payment was that, we'd plug libertyminded.com on the air or whatever.
And I didn't even ask for a plug for most of the time that I've been on this show.
Well, because most of the time Liberty Minded didn't exist.
Well, that. I mean, I could have been plugging other things, but
sure.
I'm just like, eh.
But we do, we're doing financially fairly well now, so we decided a couple of years ago, I think, to start paying a little bit of a spiff. It's not even like, they're not employees or anything like that. It's just like, here's a thank you for showing up.
You guys get revenue from being from people like, you
from
guys
advertisers,
get from advertisers, yes.
Because we've been doing this for a long time, and Mark Edge is a sales professional. He's pretty good at doing that sort of thing. But look, Dave, The reason why people want to be on the air with Free Talk Live is because it's fun. It's great to get the word out about things, whether it be the thing that you're doing or the things that you think are interesting or whatever. That's what drove most people to do this show over most of the years of its existence. The fact that we pay a small fee, just to say thank you for showing up, cover some of the gas to get out here is not the main reason why people show up.
So let me ask you this: when you did your show, how many times did you mention Anchor.fm?
But we did 3 or 4 shows, and because you load up a thing on your phone or whatever, and you can type in a title for your own thing.
And how many times did you mention it? Now that you've given us the rundown of the features of Anchor.fm.
Because I'm sure. Because what the hell was I saying?
Like, would you say you mentioned it 10 times, 20 times?
It was mentioned a couple of times because
And how many times did you get paid for each time that you gave them a free ad?
You guys are being paid to be there right now.
And why isn't Anchor paying you? You go around mentioning their product. You're a brand representative. Why aren't they paying you? Have you called them up and told them that you want to represent their brand for them?
I told TW, this guy out in Boston who I've known.
Does he work for Anchor.fm?
What?
They're getting so much free advertising.
No. This guy, my friend out in Boston, TW, who I've known since the HowardShrine.net and message boards, and I told him I want to be paid $500. I want to be paid for podcasting.
And what did he tell you? Go take a hike.
Yeah, because he said, "Oh, he'll pay me $1." No,
yeah, if you were his friend. If you were his friend and you actually valued the thing that you were creating together, you'd have done it for free and then figured out later how you could make some money off of it.
The question is he making money from Anchor.fm?
I don't work for free.
Yeah, well, you don't work at all, do you?
I don't work.
You don't work at all.
Work for free.
You got plenty. Yes, I did. I worked for free for years on this show. I paid to be on this show for years in the early days, back when we were on WTMY, Johnson. Back in, we were both paying for airtime back then.
The problem is you don't decide what you're worth. You decide what you get to ask for, and you get to decide to try and set your value.
He did try. He tried $500 an episode.
And if no one else sets that value for you, then you don't get that.
What you get paid is all what people are willing to give you, and if you don't provide a service and they're not willing to pay you, then it's not worth it.
Should we keep Dave? No. Thanks, Dave, for the call tonight, because he can keep going. Dave can keep going on this. I wish he would get the Discord app, though.
Discord.
Discord. Go download the Discord app, Dave, and then sign up for it. And then go to discord.lrn.fm.
Business owners, you want more customers? Accept cryptocurrencies. There's people all around you just waiting to spend money at your store. If only you would take it. I know, you've been waiting till someone else makes it easy. Well, good news. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com adds Bitcoin to your point of sale. Totally free. Use the same equipment you already have, now with Bitcoin. And unlike credit cards, there's no fees. Let the guys at HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com bring new customers to your store. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Local.bitcoin.com. Have you heard of LibertyCon? LibertyCon is not only a convention with great speakers like Whole Foods CEO and co-founder John Mackey and Nobel Prize winner Vernon Smith, but it's also unique because you get a chance to network with more than 70 pro-liberty organizations, one-on-one for the purpose of career advancement, business, and internship opportunities. April 3rd through 5th in Washington, D.C. You can learn more by visiting LibertyCon.com and use code FTL for a $10 discount on your registration. That's LibertyCon.com.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams. Most of you know me as a talk show host, but I'm also an author, actor, single father of 4, a fitness writer, avid snowboarder, and I'm also a medical marijuana patient. Like many of the million people who are living with multiple sclerosis, I'm in pain every single day. And sometimes my nerves are so raw that if you brushed up against me in an elevator, I'd scream. I can't sleep at night from the pain, and sometimes the spasms in my legs are so intense they will wake me up throughout the night. I've tried the strongest prescription medications available, and I'm going to tell you, they do not work. In fact, they leave me in a stupor, and most of the time, it's impossible to even live your life. Now, I've tried medical marijuana, and I'm going to tell you something, it works. If you'd like more information about medical marijuana, you can contact the Marijuana Policy Project at mpp.org or call 1-877-JOIN-MPP.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free if you want. You can take control of the airwaves. And if you really want to sound good, just get on our Discord lines over at discord.lrn.fm, where you'll sound almost like you're sitting in the studio with us. It's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Conan.
Hey, coming up next year in the summertime, Forkfest 2020. It is year number 4 of the Decentralized Libertarian Camping Festival happening at the beautiful Rogers Campground in the northern White Mountains of New Hampshire. It's an absolutely beautiful location to spend some time. Even if you were just there by yourself or with your family or whatever, with your loved ones, it's a great place to go. But if you're surrounded by other liberty-minded folks, people who are maybe self-described as voluntarists or libertarians or anarchists, then it gets even better because you're around people that, think like you do. And, some people set up shop, they sell things, they make food, sell items or whatever. Usually they don't ask any governmental permission for that. So this year, in this year's Forkfest, there were several vendors that were selling delicious food. Every one of them took cryptocurrency for payment, which was awesome. So it actually ended up being like a crypto festival in the woods in New Hampshire. And year number 3, which was this year, was much bigger than year number 2. And so I expect year number 4 is going to get bigger. Now, we don't have any official numbers because Forkfest is not an organized event. There's not a board of directors. There's not organizers. There's no tickets that are sold to the event. you do have to pay for your camping spot at Rogers Campground, but beyond that, that's it. You buy your camping spot, then you figure out what to do. Do you want to do something? Do you want to host a poker table or something like that, or have a musical event, or put on a play? I don't know. Whatever you want to do, whatever you think people would find enjoyable, you can just create that at ForkFest. And that's kind of what made ForkFest really interesting, was like, well, there's all these people there. What are they going to bring to the table? What kind of, Johnson, you set up a food booth, which was like, you had some really high quality food that you were making there.
Just doing a bunch of different stuff.
And so, just kind of do whatever you think you're called to do, whatever you think's going to work out, whatever you think the market would appreciate.
I was like trying to offer, low carb options, also vegetarian options.
Yep.
And then besides some kind of fancier stuff in that realm, just burgers and hot dogs and stuff. So, I mean, it was interesting because there was a lot of different people. No, we didn't break. This particular year, we didn't break even.
Now, wait, you weren't there for all of ForkFest, were you?
No, I think I missed the first 2 days or whatever that, but
that would have been too busy then anyway.
Isn't breakfast the one you want to master? Because no one
was killing it on breakfast.
No one is willing to wake up that early except people who
was the only person doing it, and he sold out fast.
That's what you got to do in order to really capitalize on, or do something like
late night
snacks.
Yeah, because most of them don't want to go late night either. And actually, Little Zoe's Pizza was doing late night stuff, and they were doing great too.
Right.
So
my question is, how many more years until the Great ForkFest Schism?
Well, what would that look like? Because the schism that created ForkFest was a result of central organizers making decisions that not everyone agreed with. But in the case of ForkFest, there are no central organizers because that's the whole point of the festival. Yeah. So you can go to forkfest.party. It's an unofficial website that'll give you at least the dates and you can link over to a Telegram chat room and the forum. All of it, created by people who enjoy the event. The dates are, again, unofficially going to be June 29th through July 5th. And, you can stay longer if you want. But before that, the Porcupine Freedom Festival has the park locked down, so you can't really go earlier than that. Otherwise, you'll be in PorcFest, and you got to pay for a ticket there. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. That's a fine event. It's a fine festival. I got the pleasure of attending that this year for the first time in a few years. So there's 2 festivals that happen now during the summertime in New Hampshire for freedom lovers. And this coming year in 2020, ForkFest is going to move after the Porcupine Freedom Festival. The previous 3 years, it was before. So that means it's going to be a little warmer. It's going to be another week into summer. And so more people should be able to attend because everybody's going to be out of school by the time ForkFest hits. And it's going to have Independence Day, which I think is going to be just a perfect final or finale, if you will, for that particular week. Because
you're going to get all the leftovers. You're going to get the scraps.
Scraps?
The seconds.
What do you mean?
All the people left over from PorkFest.
That's actually going to be awesome because...
I'm not saying... Well, I mean, having considered that every ForkFest has been before, right. I'm assuming, just as you said, that you weren't actually losing out on clientele, on participants, because people weren't ready to come out. But my concern is, how energized are they going to be? Are they going to be ready to partay? Or are they going to be all worn out from a whole week of PorkFest?
Well, first of all, the Porcupine Freedom Festival isn't a whole week. They used to be.
This is news to me.
A few years ago, cut it back.
4 days now.
Yeah, they cut it back to maybe 5, but 4 or 5 days.
So what day? What day of the week does it start? Still on Sunday?
Tuesday.
That's probably better for a lot of people, actually.
Yeah, so it's a little shorter, and so we expect it's going to ramp up into ForkFest. And then ForkFest will ramp up towards the weekend.
So they'll still have some juice flowing. Yeah. So they'll still be able to celebrate Independence Day.
It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Forkfest.party. Go there, learn more about it. Let's get back into these Republicans and Democrats, Johnson. Your story pointing out that it seems like they don't even stand for anything anymore. If they ever did, they certainly don't now, except for, we're not the other team. Right. Go team.
Right.
But hasn't that always been the case? Forever.
Apparently, it's more so now than it ever was.
Yeah, but everyone says this year, this generation is worse off than the last. It's just
the partisanness has been increasing in my lifetime for sure. And I, made a claim when I was much younger that I thought that because of George W. Bush, that I thought that was going to get a lot worse, and I was right. This was a long time ago, just when I was starting to get into radio and talking about these ideas, and I kind of saw it back then. I'm like, this guy is really religious, and it's just, he runs his life from that and runs politics that way, and you're putting religion and politics together, and it's going to be a big shift. And it was a big shift. And it has not healed ever since. And, of course, 9/11 didn't help. The article goes on here to continue. Such rapid shifts on issues and ideology have left little time for developing a strong basis of enthusiasm for what political partisans are supposedly for, but left people with plenty of energy to expand on what they're against. We find that while partisan animus began to rise in the 1980s, it has grown, I guess during Reagan, it has grown dramatically over the past 2 decades. Shanto Iyengar and Masha Karpenkin, political scientist at Stanford, reported in a paper published last year. As animosity towards the opposing party has intensified, it has taken on a new role as the prime motivator in partisans' political lives. Today, it is out-group animus rather than in-group favoritism that drives political behavior. That means politically partisan Americans are defining themselves not by what they have in common with allies, but by how much they hate their enemies.
Yep. I can tell you, I see this happening. I've been attending the Republican meetings here in Keene now for almost a year. I think I first started going in December of 2018. And a lot of what they talk about is how bad the Democrats are and what the Democrats are doing, and really just exactly what you're saying.
So let me ask you guys, how about them statists?
How about them? I mean, there's plenty of them.
I'm just saying, if we're going to go by people defining themselves by their, enemies or as opposed to their allies.
Well, no, libertarians.
I would say that infection has not just affected the Republicans and the Democrats, but is true of all political stripes, including libertarians who have their opposition to statists.
I think those individuals have given up and have fallen victim to the poison.
We got more on the way. 855-450 free.
I can definitely say that I have found the best cryptocurrency wallet. Certainly the best named one. I'm Mark Edge, and I love the Edge wallet. I've been using it for the last few months. You can buy, sell, trade, and hold your cryptocurrency securely. I trust my holdings of all the major cryptocurrencies to Edge wallet, and you should too. No long phrases to memorize, just a username and password. Secure your freedom with Edge wallet. Get it now on Apple or Android in the App Store or at edge.app. Free Talk Live is now on more than 200 radio stations nationwide. We've had more than 18 million podcast downloads, and we claim millions of listens a month. We're a multimedia ad venue with print, email, web, and terrestrial radio marketing platforms. We strive to have ad packages that cater to advertisers big and small. Contact me today at mark@freetalklive.com to see what we can do for you. mark@freetalklive.com. If you're a local advertiser, contact this station. But if you can service a national audience, contact me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
There are basically 2 types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing. The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll free and join us here. Our number 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms. You can join them over at discord.lrn.fm. And in the studio, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Conan.
All right, so we've been talking about partisan hackery, partisanship, people who just hate on the other side without actually really even knowing what their own side stands for.
Without thinking. This is the very definition of a non-player character, an NPC. People who just go along with the show, with the collective, and never actually ask questions about what do we stand for.
Well,
what are we actually against?
This is where it gets into the statistics and starts getting interesting, at least in my eyes.
Well, they know what they're against. Anything the other side says.
Yeah, exactly. Even if the other side starts to change its tone, and the party that you're with starts to change its tone, before you know it, I'm okay. Republicans, I'm okay with certain bans on on certain weapons, certain firearms.
Right. Bump stocks.
Even though that was unheard of 10 years ago.
So, tell us more, Johnson.
So it says this, the article continues here. This means that politically partisan Americans are defining themselves not by what they have in common with allies, but how much they hate their enemies. They may not have a good handle on what they're fighting about, but damn it, they're going to fight. And it goes on here. 55% of Republicans said Democrats are not 55% of Republicans said Democrats are more immoral than other Americans, and 47% of Democrats said likewise about Republicans. As Pew Research noted last month, the level of division and animosity, including negative sentiments among partisans toward the members of the opposing party, has only deepened since the last survey 3 years ago. 55% of Republicans said Democrats are more. I think I just read that. Wait,
you did.
Yeah. 55. It goes on the next paragraph, though. It says 55% of Republicans and 44% of Democrats say the party opposing their own is not just worse for politics, they are downright evil. According to a YouGov survey, 34% of Republicans and 27% of Democrats say that the other party lack the traits to be considered fully human. They behave like animals.
Whoa.
And what I want to know is, what percentage do libertarians fall under as far as believing that the statists, both Republicans and Democrats, are not humans?
Well, the interesting thing
bunch
is
of snake people.
This same article, basically covered that these people, they don't have a sense of actual principles, or so they. If you were to ask them, why are these people what traits define why these other groups are evil, they probably wouldn't be able to give you a consistent or solid answer, which is interesting because I can sit here and tell you why I think Republicans and Democrats are immoral all day long. Because they support force and aggression against peaceful people. If you're a Republican or a Democrat, you support force and aggression usage against peaceful people.
But
you
it
essentially
doesn't-
are supporting violence. You may not understand you're
right,
supporting
and that's why
violence.
they're not necessarily evil,
Right.
Because they believe they're doing good. They believe their side
Yeah.
is the right side.
I don't
or
necessarily say evil. I said immoral, meaning
No,
that you
but the
lack a
question
moral
was about
foundation.
evil.
Right.
But the question was who
Sure.
believes that the other side is evil, and a significant amount of them
Right.
do.
Yeah.
Even though the other side is just a group
But
of
there
people
were-
who thinks they're doing the right thing.
But that evil question built up from asking questions about the morality of the opposing party. And it's like, well, if you can't even define what your morals are, how are you going to define what's immoral about the other party? You just think they're icky.
Right.
So it says here, factions aren't really firm about what they believe, shift positions, but are dead set in their hatred for one another to the point of dehumanization. In a weird way, such a partisan animus is, for its own sake, sounds an awful like ancient rivalry between the Blues and the Greens, the chariot teams turned political parties that played into such a prominent role in 6th century Byzantine political life. As with modern Republicans and Democrats, it was never entirely clear what they stood for beyond opposition to one another, but rioting between the two factions ultimately burned half of Constantinople to the ground. When the Blues and Greens set about burning their own city, they were encouraged by senators who hoped to seize the imperial throne for themselves. They sought to take advantage of the chaos.
I would like to encourage both sides to go ahead and burn DC down. Could we have that happen? Because if this is the way this ends, then I support it. Let's do it.
It's not about destroying the power hold. It's about gaining control over it and gaining the power for themselves.
Yeah, but I'm just saying what he's saying. If as they continued to conflict, it ended up in
what
the
they don't realize, and this is the kicker, is that their people who they're voting for every year are in fact the same team and are just about controlling both sides and creating division.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the other article
here in this country to keep them fighting and looking the wrong way and
looking
not
at the wrong
looking at not
culprit.
looking at the wrong culprit. The whole.
Yeah, well, the other article we could have been talking about that we don't have time for, that I had thought about talking about, but was ultimately way too long, was about the mathematical probability of a revolution, and that the funny title of this Medium article was that the probability or whatever, the unlikely odds of the probability or probable case for the tinfoil hat wearing prepper.
To be correct increases as time goes on.
Yeah,
right?
well, it's essentially it's like the mathematical case actually makes a whole lot of sense. That
But
if
what's
you
it
look at the
gonna look
history,
like?
if you look at the history of the United States and the amount of revolutions, and this is just the Civil War and some other revolution. That was
first one?
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's. Well, I guess if you're counting that, I don't know if it was like internal revolutions, not necessarily that. But okay, maybe he was talking about that one. But if you look at those and you take that into account in terms of mathematical odds, then you're talking about, over the course of a 76.6 year lifespan, a 37% chance that there will be another revolution. Then goes on to compare other countries and their revolutions, and then
we're overdue for one. Basically, is what
and he
he's saying.
says if you include things like slavery and certain other things that are where people have lost considerable amounts of freedom and other things, then those odds become huge.
But the question is, what's it going to look like when a revolution, whatever that means nowadays, occurs? What will define it?
What is the fight, and what is it for?
Yeah.
What are we trying
Who's
to
against
gain?
Who?
I think it's going to revolve around. Well, I mean, you can go either more towards individual freedoms, which I think it's coming to a tipping point where we've lost so much of it. But then look at China and look how much they love their government controlling everything. Or it could go the other.
If you say it differently, you get thrown in a
It could go
gulag.
the other way, where people are suffering so desperately that they give all of their freedoms away to some puppet master to make it all go away.
Take care of me.
To take care of me. And I'm thinking communist Russia, and I'm thinking fascist Germany. Nazi Germany. If you know, the term fascist has changed over the years, but these days that's basically what it means. But both of those groups of people gave up all their freedoms because they didn't know where else to go, and they gave it up to a central power to take care of them. And so it could either go where we rise up, the people, the individual, and take our power back, or we give it all away, give all our freedoms away.
It sure doesn't seem like the former, but I would love it to be. It just seems like people are getting more likely to give away their freedoms, more likely to not make choices.
Look at what we do all day. I mean, look at the Zoomers and all of the they post everything, every part of their lives on the internet, and they don't care. What's a password for? I don't need a VPN. The government would never do that to me. They would never spy on me.
They've never lived a life without the TSA, right?
It's always been there. They've always had an elf on the shelf.
Yeah.
So I want to say the correct title of that article, so people, if they're interested, can go look this up, because I found the math was really interesting. But it's the surprisingly solid mathematical case of the tinfoil hat gun prepper.
Well, just drop it in our show prep channel.
Is this every 52 years or something? Is that theory? Or 56 years or something like that?
I thought it was 80 years.
No. That's a whole nother theory. That's that's a different cycle.
This guy is what he does is he does like insurance adjusting for flood damage, and basically talking about whether or not people are going to be able to get a mortgage and what the odds are that a flood will occur in a particular area within 30 years, and looking at those numbers and then calculating the odds that will happen. And so he was using those kinds of formulas to calculate what are the odds of like a black swan event revolution kind of situation in particular countries.
Johnson's going to post that article and the other one from Reason, I guess, as well, on our show prep channel, which you can go to twitter.freetalklive.com. These are our social medias. Also toot.freetalklive.com and telegram.freetalklive.com. It will appear in all those places. More coming up. Game of the week next.
Complement your health with hemp-derived cannabinoid oil. We've always believed that the closer to Earth, the better it is for our bodies. Our hemp-derived cannabinoid oil is phytocannabinoid-rich, full-spectrum, and organically grown. Finally, hemp made easy, clean, and effective. GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203. That's right, we cut through the red tape. It's now available at GCNhemp.com or call 877-878-4203.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business. So make sure that they create a positive impression with Reputation Defender. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with Reputation Defender. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771. For your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with Reputation Defender. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin, but imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Moments remain here. Enough time for you if you dial in now. The number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're changing gears. You know, we've basically assessed the situation between these Democrats and the Republicans and how they're really more similar than they are different, in that all they do is just hate on the other side. Ian Johnson and Conan in the studio here tonight. By the way, I do want to invite you over to freetalklive.com. We got all kinds of cool features there. You can follow us on our video streaming platforms. We're on Twitch and we're on DLive. There's also a YouTube channel, but who cares about that? Twitch.lrn.fm and DLive.lrn.fm. You can follow us there. And sometimes there's after shows that happen. There won't be one tonight, but there's, I think, every Wednesday night now for the last couple of months. Jay Noon and Nobody and Silver Dave have been doing an after show on Wednesdays, and Nobody, I believe, has started one on Friday nights. I don't know how consistent that one will be. We'll see, but it's there when it's there. And if you're following our channels on DLive and Twitch, you will get notices when we go live on those platforms. So once again, that is DLive.lrn.fm and Twitch.lrn.fm. Conan, you wanted to do a game of the week this week. And a Mandela effect of the week. We'll see if we have time for it, but
probably just game of the week.
Game of the week. What is it?
So last week or the week before, I was playing Dungeons 3, which is a simulator. It's a real-time strategy type game where you build a base, an underground base, and you are the bad guy. You're the evil genius, and you're thwarting the good guys who are coming in and are trying to take you out.
The heroes are coming into the dungeons. Your job to stop them.
Correct. Dungeons 3 was based on an old 2001, the early 2000s game called Dungeon Keeper 2, which is phenomenal. It is, there's very few games that I've actually replayed more than once. And in the case of Dungeon,
I almost never replay games.
Right, in the case of Dungeon Keeper 2, I've replayed it at least 4 times. And in the case of this next game that I'm going to review, which by the way, I was playing Dungeons 3, if you can get it on sale, I would go with it, but it is not Dungeon Keeper 2. It is,
not as good.
It's not as good. The graphics are better, the gameplay is better, everything's a little bit better, but it just doesn't have that. It just doesn't have it like the old. And of course, I'm nostalgic, so I could be wrong. I'm a purist,
sure.
So I could be wrong in that on that front. But it did. The nostalgia from that game made me want to load up some of my older games. In this case, I loaded up Evil Genius.
I've not heard of it.
Which came out in 2004, and it is also a single-player real-time simulation strategy where it's very similar, except it is more of a James Bond / if any of you are familiar with Archer. The adult comedy comedy cartoon. Very similar. It is very stylized. The art is very stylized. You have you have all
Evil Genius.
You have all your cliche.
What's the goal? What's going on in this
same
game?
Thing. You're an evil genius, and basically you have your underground or under a mountain fortress. And in the last stage, the second island, you actually build your base around a volcano. And of course, the good guys are trying to take you out. And of course, you are throughout the game sending your minions out into the world to perform vile acts of infamy, where you're stealing priceless artifacts and you're taking out governments and installing your own diplomats in the case of theirs. It's just a whole lot of fun. I'm actually playing it on the hardest difficulty this time around, and there's a couple of just unfair moments, I'll say that. But if you're playing it for the first time, definitely play it.
Now, is this one of these games that's available on like a Steam platform? It's easy to get a hold of?
It's very easy to get a hold of. It is on Steam. I haven't figured out how to unlock all of the Easter eggs that I could do so back in the day on the Steam version. So there are some characters I can't get. There's some rooms and stuff that I can't unlock because I haven't figured it out yet, and I don't think I'm gonna. Mm-hmm. But I'm already, I've been playing it all week, and I'm glad that I reloaded it. It's a great game, and it still looks
10
good.
10 out of 10 rating on Steam.
It still looks good. 15 years later, it's definitely worth playing, especially for that price range. And I think I did wait about 80% off. So I think I only paid like $3 or $4
this time
around. This of course
it wasn't the Steam didn't exist back then.
Well, the Steam sale is over. I'm talking about just the sale that we just experienced. But it's definitely super fun. Like a lot of these strategy games, the trap system is kind of wonky. Dungeons Keeper 2 is the same. Dungeons 3 that I just played, the trap system is just wonky. Sometimes it's just better to set up a bunch of guns. They just walk in and blast them all.
Huh.
But good fun.
Wow, this must have been one of the last games with the Sierra brand on it. I'm looking here. It actually had the Sierra brand, which ended in June of 2004.
Yeah, Sierra was King's Quest?
Yeah, Sierra had a bunch of great games back in the late 80s, early 90s, like Leisure Suit Larry, the King's Quest series,
Yep.
Police Quest, another one. There was a bunch of sort of adventure game style games way back in the day. They don't make games like that anymore.
They don't make a lot of things like they used to anymore. And I don't think it's just because we're old and nostalgic. I think something is going on. Where movies and TV and games just
people
suck.
don't have the patience for an adventure game like that. I mean, we're talking about for kids. We're talking about these old games where what you do is there was like a still frame where you'd have to walk around. You click on like the different things on the screen to try to learn.
By the way, there is an updated King's Quest. It's like 5 different episodes, and I had the first one for 3, and I never loaded it up. It looks beautiful.
So I recently was excited, but unfortunately, I think there's some paperwork that I need to have to actually like move forward in the game. That because I had a book.
Which game?
I originally owned this game in like. When I was very young, it was prior to high school. Star Trek Judgment Rights.
Huh.
It came out originally. It is a full color game, but it was originally on 12 3 3¼ inch floppy disks.
Wow, that's an oldie.
Yeah, and it's recently been released to the Internet Archive where they have like all these DOS games that you can...
they just release like 2,500 more DOS games, and they already had thousands of them.
And this Star Trek Judgment Rights was included, so I was like really excited, and I started to get it to play it, and I was able to get it to run, but the moment I go into the game, it's like there's something that it asks you to do to like go to a specific star system, and it's like
you have to go to the instruction booklet.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't have. There's no instruction booklet. Like, how do you do this?
Right.
I'm like, how do you get first? Because I was like, I want to play through this game again. It was really fun.
This was
There's so much science in it. And you have to like mix gases.
This was an old copy protection measure that you're describing. Back in the days when anybody could just copy a game from disc to disc, one of the ways the companies would protect that from happening was they'd make sure you check the manual to get some sort of a word. Like, what's the third word from the top of the page on page 7? You type that word in, and then it lets you into the game. And the idea was if you didn't have a copy of the manual, you probably weren't the real owner of the game, and so therefore you couldn't get into it.
Yeah, and it's in this game, it's like part of the gameplay is to look something up or some things that are probably included in the manual, or like a map, like a star map or something like that. And it stinks because that game was very much like watching an original series Star Trek episode with the type of puzzles that you have to solve were like the kind of puzzles that were in the show, and it was just I was like all excited and then disappointed.
I played like 15 minutes of Oregon Trail a couple of weeks ago.
Did you die of dysentery?
It's online. No, I was doing great.
Which version though? They're still making them.
No, the original.
Okay. Because they've remade and remade and remade.
I was doing great, and
I've been playing the modern version of Oregon Trail, which is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh,
I've heard it's a great game. I haven't had a chance to. I did play through the first one.
Is it on PC yet?
Yes.
Had a bit of a buggy launch, though, from what I heard.
Yeah.
Speaking of new things, Google apparently is trying to get into the video gaming market with its Stadia product, which seems like a real dead-in-the-water kind of concept. The idea behind this thing, as I understand it, is Google is going to run the games that you buy on their server.
It's not a unique idea.
And then, no, it's not, but they're pushing it hard or whatever. And then they will then broadcast the gameplay to your device, which you can, in theory, watch on not only your computer, but your phone or tablet or television. So the idea is, your devices become the portal to you playing this game, and the gameplay itself is actually being done on Google's servers. It seems like it's going to be an absolute nightmare for most people because of lag, for
Does
instance.
anyone remember OnLive?
No.
Yeah, well, OnLive was one of these streaming game services, one of the first ones, and everyone was really excited about it.
And they died.
Yeah. Because cloud gaming stinks.
It does, and it did. But I think that for the three of us, we grew up in an age where you actually own physical copies and you build your own damn playing machine, your own PC.
Yeah.
But there's a whole generation out there. They stream everything.
Sure.
And they don't know how to build their own PC. They don't know any of this. So they just want to push the green button that loads their game up.
That's fine, but the game still has to load to the hardware that you have, because if if it's not running on your hardware, it's not going to run very well. There's another one, Shadow.
Maybe 5G microwaves in your house is going to bring all of this technology to the front.
You're going to need a real fast internet connection that's super duper
and the
stable.
bandwidth is going to, even if you have the fast internet connection, somebody calculated the bandwidth of this Google Stadia, you're going to go over like a terabyte limit with this thing. It's crazy. We'll see you tomorrow night. freetalklive.com.
Anarchapulco is the world's foremost conference for voluntarist thinkers and activists, held in beautiful Acapulco, Mexico. Share ideas on how to live free and escape the clutches of the state. Their unparalleled lineup of speakers will discuss entrepreneurship, investments, politics, philosophy, health, sustainability, lifestyles, and personal relationships. Stay in a world-class resort and enjoy the sun and beaches. February the 13th through the 16th, visit anarchapulco.com for early bird pricing and 10% off with coupon code FTL.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock is next after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,474, silver at $17.17, and Bitcoin is trading around $8,103. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, 2 federal correctional officers who were on duty the night Jeffrey Epstein died were arrested early Tuesday on federal charges related to their failure to check on him the night he died in his cell. That's according to the New York Times, citing a person with knowledge of the matter. The newspaper reports the 2 Federal Bureau of Prisons employees were expected to be charged later Tuesday morning and appear in United States District Court in Manhattan. The charges would be the first to arise from a criminal inquiry into the death of Epstein, who hanged himself at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. The guards face harsh scrutiny after Epstein was found unresponsive in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City on August 10th, after failing to check on him every 30 minutes as required. Instead, they fell asleep for hours and falsified records to cover up what they had done, according to reports. Prosecutors offered the officers a plea deal, according to CNN, which they declined. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Swedish prosecutors have dropped the ongoing investigation into a 2010 rape allegation made against WikiLeaks co-founder Julian Assange, citing the weakening of evidence over the course of 9 years since the alleged incident occurred. The Mind Unleashed reports a Swedish woman had accused him of the crime, which she said took place in August 2010, after she met the Australian during a conference in Stockholm. Assange, who has steadfastly denied the accusation, had dodged extradition to Sweden for 7 years, after being given refuge at the Ecuadorian embassy in London. In April, Ecuador's government allowed British police to enter the embassy and arrest the 48-year-old shortly following the release of a batch of documents, allegedly implicating Ecuadorian President Lenin Moreno in corruption. Since then, Assange has been held at the maximum security HMP Belmarsh prison in London on a 50-week sentence of breaching bail conditions for seeking refuge at the embassy. The U.S. government is seeking the extradition of Assange to the United States on 18 charges. A bill that could see marijuana comprehensively legalized on a federal level has been scheduled for a vote on Wednesday or shortly thereafter, marking the first ever vote to put an end to federal cannabis prohibition. The Mind Unleashed reports that on Monday, the House Judiciary Committee posted a marked-up version of the bill, known as the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act. The legislation, introduced by Chairman Gerald Nadler and sponsored by Representative Kamala Harris, enjoys bipartisan support and would lead to the removal of cannabis from the Controlled Substances Act, ending prohibition on a federal level, which would allow states to move forward with their own policies, regulating the commerce and consumption of the plant. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
America is at a crossroads on many issues, leading many to ask, is it time for the president to blow the silver horn left behind by the Founding Fathers in case the country ever needed them? Of course, the horn, which has been sitting in the Oval Office since 1817, has never been used by a commander-in-chief, but many Americans think now might be the time to summon our forefathers. Which Founding Fathers would come back?
All of them. Look, when you have a bug problem, you call the exterminator. When you have an America problem, you call the Founding Fathers. They know what to do.
We have to keep in mind the Founding Fathers left us with a warning. If you blow the horn with less than pure intentions, it will turn to tin and can never be used.
But a president has to take risks, have the courage to admit that his administration is not all-knowing, and blow that magic silver horn to summon someone who is.
Yes, but what if we become too reliant on them and they disappear after the next new moon, as was written?
This is the Onion News Network.
It's on our
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Don't fear, don't fear, don't fear, don't fear, don't fear, don't fear. Here on Declare your independence from me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the beautiful studios of Freedom's with an S, freedomsphoenix.com. Ooh, that was a good one. We're going to keep that one. What we're going to do is in the second and third hour, which means like the third hour, Dr. Frank Tambury will be in to do the Trump report. We got to get caught up on, whatever, okay? It's just, whatever. And I am so, am I allowed not to freaking care? Well, I tell you what I am caring about. There's going to be a Cullen a-coming. A Cullen, which is, kind of thinning out of the herd. How's that going to take place? Certainly starting intellectually, I'll tell you that. And I want to make sure that we are ready for what I personally, we got to start getting ready to. We've been starting to consolidate things, getting things all organized. We've been taking our time and making plans for, and things may be different 6 months from now, and we're getting ready for it. So what might that be? Well, I don't know. I tell you, philosophy is going to dominate on this. When we were doing the Levolution during the years, I would see some of the young guys would be over with Kindles. It was Kindle was, making a big deal over there. And I'd, start talking to the guy sitting under the tree at Pork Fest or something like that. They were catching up on their Mises.org. It was amazing. They were hungry for this Rothbardian kind of give me the truth about and why and how and asking questions and, oh my God, getting answers. And they're rating. Jeff Dice is president of the Mises Institute, where he serves as a writer, public speaker, and advocate for property markets and civil society. He previously worked as a longtime advisor and chief of staff to Congressman Ron Paul, for whom he wrote hundreds of articles and speeches. In his years with Dr. Paul, he worked with countless grassroots activists and organizations dedicated to reducing the size and scope of government. Jeff's also spent many years as a tax attorney advising private equity clients on mergers and acquisitions. So he knows, he understands. Now, and I was one of those activists that he was very kind to and helped. Just little stuff. You need something, you just know it only takes 5 seconds, and he was like, did it in 3, Everybody else, it's like, we got to have a meeting. But we got Jeff Dice going to explain it to us. Jeff, welcome to the show, man. It's good to talk to you.
Yeah, you mentioned people looking at Mises.org when you're at PorkFest. Here's the thing: is I think 2020 is going to be an anti-philosophy year. I think it's going to be a political year, and I think it's going to be very, very tough for organizations like us to be heard, because everyone's going to be focused on the primaries and the candidates, and none of them are going to be very philosophical, to put it mildly. So part of me really hates election years, national election years every 4 years. And let's face it, libertarians are a little bit out in the weeds this year coming into this. There's no Ron Paul revolution. And You know, neither of the two so-called major parties are going to be offering a philosophical candidate, to put it mildly. So, you know, we gotta be out there and thinking about different ways to go at this thing. And I would argue strongly that politics is maybe not the best one.
You know, I'm not a politic guy. You know, like voting, I don't care what the vote totals are. I don't trust them anyway. You know, that's not my thing. You know, it's just that during election cycles is when I've had the biggest leaps, and I've been doing this 30 years. And what happens is people, all right, I'll watch, you know, I'll go online, I'll do some research. I got my early ballot thing. All right, honey, let's sit down and kind of see who's got the prettier face on their brochure. And they pay attention for about 3 months, if that, you know, 2-3 months every 2 years, certainly every 4 in the presidential. And if you got their attention a little bit there, what's the message? What do you tell them? What is the thing that you want them to know? There's always 1 to 3 kind of big things or something. And when I was coming up in '88, it was flag burning amendment. And I'm like, seriously, this is it? This is what you guys got? This is what the big thing is? You know, and that kind of sent me down the whole kind of stuff. But the thing is that I think you're wrong. I think philosophy, I know they don't want it to be. That's why they got this social justice warrior in the street civil war of, oh my God, and everything's burning, you know. But the only thing that's going to save us is philosophy. It's why. You know, it's a question, why are we here? Why are we alone? Why? I mean, all these basic questions. And the philosophical answers that Mises has, and I saw the impact it had on it on the ground. When I was, you know, out and meeting all these young people making signs and doing it, I'm telling you, it is philosophy that binds them. There's some letter. They're passing around Rothbard stuff or something, you know, and it was just, and at the time, I remember, you know, LouRockwell.com was getting, God, something ridiculous, 30, 40 million hits a month. You know, this is, of course it is. That's why they want to make it not philosophy, because that's what the power is.
Well, and let's not forget that no philosophy is a philosophy, and pragmatism is a philosophy.
Yeah.
Middle of the roadism is a philosophy. They're just sort of unconscious philosophies. So I don't worry about the philosophical end of people who think like us. I worry about the philosophical end of people who think like Republicans and Democrats. And I think for most
they're thinking.
I think for most of them, the philosophy is the ends justifies the means. And that's it.
You know what I've come to realize, Jeff? See if this rings true with you. Over the last just couple of years, you know, Dr. Tamburia will be coming on after, and we do the Trump report thing and so on. And I'm like, you're still voting, you know, and he's, you know, so it's interesting. But I tell you, the one thing that really started to come up, he made a big deal out of, is there's 4 or 5% of the population are sociopaths. I mean, their empathy, you know, wiring is gone. You know, they just don't care. You know, but what I found out is when I was 30 years ago, as I was coming up and meeting politicians, working with there was something wrong with them. You know, they didn't quite get, there was something just plain wrong. And now I realized what it was. They're sociopaths. They are not wired right. They're just pragmatic, whatever's going to benefit them things. And they gravitate towards politics. This type of thing, they need a shiny badge or a lab coat or some kind of I'm special or something. You know, they need an affirmation thing. And politics draws these kinds of people. Once you realize that, all of a sudden it becomes clear. I mean, am I out in the weeds here, or what do you think?
Well, I've actually changed my mind somewhat on voting in politics in the last, let's say, 10 years. I've softened on it. I think it's fine. I think strategic voting, that sort of thing, I'm for it. Let's say you live in a small town and someone is proposing putting in a stoplight, and you're either for or against that.
Mm-hmm.
And the total vote's going to be 10,000 people, let's say, 5,100 on one side or the other. And so you go out and try to get some of your friends and pass out some flyers in the neighborhood. And, you know, and because you want or you don't want the stop sign, I can see that. I don't oppose that. That's going to affect your life. You know, you get a little more attenuated when you're talking about national politics. It's awfully hard to affect it. And as you pointed out, I think the other day, you know, to run for president now, it takes $1 billion. It's not $100 billion. It's not $500 million.
Yeah.
So when someone's talking about Jacob Hornberger or somebody like that raising $3 million, it's like, okay, you know, that's great. I'm biased because I've known Jacob a long time. I'm not a member of the LP. Haven't followed it in the last, let's say, 10 years or so. But, the question would be, what's the point and what's the goal?
From the first letter of Dr. Idris Barber, I've healed many landlubbers, but could have healed countless more if they were willing to break the law to preserve themselves. The Crown required that I obey leeching privateers who didn't share my oath to do no harm. I was forbidden from discussing the treatments I knew patients needed. The Crown claims to protect landlubbers from bankrupting medical expenses, but only seduces them into begging for relief, while privateers monopolize the management of chronic illness. This royal alliance has constructed a medical hegemony that denies science, discredits alternative remedies, and mandates unwanted treatments, while callously ignoring the victims dying on waiting lists. They have produced a society increasingly addicted, impoverished, diseased, and suicidal. My conscientious objections and medical ambitions required not only seeing this cage, but leaving it. That's why I raised my black banner. Among pirates, the Crown's tantrums are irrelevant. You own your body without qualification. Open ocean medicine enables healers and customers to build a relationship of mutual consent. Prices decrease, quality increases, and physicians become as accessible as barbers. Customers determine their own medical care, whether that's experimental treatments, prohibited plants, controversial procedures, bootleg pharmaceuticals, or even the right to die. Any system of command and control is rejected. In time, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, genetic engineering, and cybernetic prosthetics could take the human condition beyond our imagination. Medical augmentation could eliminate aging, enhance intelligence, and erase our fundamental physical limitations. With the Crown in our wake and the individual at the helm, we are free to pursue an unfettered life. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com.
The political world.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
U.S. officials assure Hong Kong that their protest is just one of many issues the White House is staying silent on, and an old guy at a hostel is down to party. This is the Onion Week in Review. Stunned officials from the Marine Conservation Institute announced this week that the past half-century of climate change and habitat loss somehow hasn't managed to take down the and parrotfish. Biologists stress that despite destructive chemical runoff, rising ocean temperatures, and overfishing, the persistent little shits were somehow plugging right along like nothing had even happened.
You look at the oil spills, greenhouse gases, and God knows what else we're throwing at them, and you think, yeah, those subtropical should have been wiped out decades ago. But nope, these sons of bitches are still around and doing better than ever.
In other news, a grasshopper is dismembered by a future Supreme Court justice. A man having a great time will soon have to apologize to everyone, and Rand Paul pretends to be asleep so his dad will carry him in from the car.
This is the Onion News Network.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.